What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Ron Swanson. We're live with Joseph, the Baldlionn. Of course, I'm here just a regular haired lion. It's kind of the two contrasts. we're delving in to Epstein tonight with this Gen Z truth teller, okay, patriot, and
Yes.
I like the tagline, I'll probably offend you. I mean, but luckily, and I just want to confirm this because I've rigorously checked, it's not your human right to not be offended by things that people say. So don't worry, unless you're in the UK, otherwise you'll go to jail, Joseph, pretty quickly. So you might upset someone and to the slammer with thee. But look, before we get started, introduce yourself, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and thanks for giving up your time and being here, mate.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. So my real name is Joseph. I go by the Baldlionn, obviously. I'm bald and I'm a Leo, so that's kind of just where that name came from. I didn't really expect it to go off as crazy as it did, but I've been kind of trying to hit the pedal to the metal, especially since the Epstein files dropped. I've really doubled down on all this kind of stuff. I was interested in it before. It was a hobby, and when that hit, I was like, okay, this is all really, really crazy. And I was in the truth space, the truth teller space, the truth investigator space.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And after that came out, it was pretty much just like a lot of validation for anyone who's clocked in and kind of keeping track of these things and recognizing patterns already knows, right? But to have it released is a whole nother level of this stuff is huge, and it kind of confirms a lot of suspicions, and then it sends it to normies or normal people who are kind of having their eyes open for the first time, the veil is forcibly being lifted. So that really doubled me down.
Yeah.
On everything.
Well, look, let's dial in on the Epstein files, right? But let's go back to before the file was dropped. Okay, let's go back to the original sentencing where the only person that can order that kind of a sentence is the DOJ, right? And the DOJ only takes orders from the president. Okay, so if you know anything about that particular case, we can start there. If not, take us off where you sort of jumped in with Epstein being problematic, and we'll go through the entire journey of the Epstein nightmare together, Joseph.
Okay, so you were seeing where I started.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you know about the original charge back when he was first sentenced for underage girls, all of that stuff, if you don't know that part of it, don't worry, just jump in where you yourself picked up on the story.
So the original charge, within the United States, there was it was kind of hearsay, rumors, but it wasn't the big news that it was until it was big news, but I'm trying to be I'm talking mainstream, every platform, big news until probably 4 years ago, maybe.
Right.
That's when it really started to go from you could talk to people and who were, dialed in, would say it. And then people started to use it politically to kind of start moving the needle in their political careers. Like the current head of our FBI, that was a big thing that he was, not running on, but saying basically to, elevate his status. He's I'm going to release the Epstein files. And then that kind of started steamrolling a few years back. And then it turned into Epstein killed himself, or didn't kill himself. Sorry. That exploded. And when that exploded, everyone kind of turned their things this, his charges. Then he, killed himself. Then everybody, that slogan got everybody. So even normies were saying it. Everyone started pointing their heads. Really big podcasts like Joe Rogan started looking at it. And then it spiraled into, why? Why did that happen? What files was he hiding? He was, sex trafficking? What's going on? That got everybody.
Yeah. Well, look, you mentioned Joe Rogan there, right? We've seen Kash Patel, for some reason, the current leader of the FBI, just hopping on a podcast. But don't worry, JD Vance has followed quick in suit last week. And it's really interesting because they're both there to talk about the Epstein files.
Yes. Yeah, it is interesting. And that
It's
podcast was
interesting.
yeah, that podcast was pretty bad. The one with Cash Patel. It was just I almost felt bad for him. Like, obviously, if he wasn't covering for, pedophiles, like, I'm not gonna be like,
right. Yeah,
kind of hard to have empathy for you. But
yeah,
that podcast was super embarrassing because in real time, Elon Musk was tweeting at him and being like, dude, Trump's in the files, all this kind of stuff. And that was embarrassing. And you can see he's not a good liar. I'm going to be totally honest. Like, just seeing him, people with
the amount of lines that Cash Patel had done before answering hard questions. Sounds like a bad liar too. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I'm saying. Allegedly.
Yeah, exactly. Allegedly, right? Yeah. Allegedly.
Protein,
of course.
It's protein powder. It's protein powder.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Always allegedly, always something else.
Oh,
but,
yeah, 100%. 100%.
But that podcast basically just, I know he was lying, but it kind of just validated everyone's like, okay, there's some, serious stuff going on here.
Well, here's the thing. I just told you about what's happening in the UK, right? With the media and the whitelisting of creators and media outlets. It's basically going to become a propaganda funnel, right? And when all of this, hang on one second. When all of this started, the way that hang on a second, sorry man, I've got ADHD and my brain just erased what we were talking about there.
Hey, you're good.
Just fumbling to try and circle, it was right there, and then my brain just completely deleted it. So I'm just going to ask you a new question.
Yeah, go for it.
Because apologies everyone at home, it happens sometimes. It's interesting profession. So let's fast forward to when the files were released, right? And I remembered now. It was JD Vance and the podcast. I remember now. Right, I remember now. So it was really interesting that they both come on to talk about the Epstein files, blah, blah, blah. But we're seeing this propaganda machine formulate, right? Where we have selected media outlets and selected creators that are going to be recommended. The whitewashing that Cash Patel tried to do in that interview, he literally came on and said, there's no conspiracy. If there was a conspiracy, we would have found it, right? Then JD Vance comes on and talks about nothing other than how he would cover up and silence conspiracies. Okay, it was bananas. It's bananas. If you watch them back to back, it's like the funniest little narrative that plays out, and it's concerning because new media, everything that you and I do, okay, that's always been our place, right? And we've slowly seen Will Smith was the first big, oh my God, what is happening here? When Will Smith just started a YouTube channel. And then we started to see celebrities all bleeding into YouTube. Now we're seeing multi-billion-dollar companies making podcasts that look like they're in someone's basement. And we're all sort of slowly being groomed back into regular media without realizing it. And how much of this has been crucial to changing the narrative? And do you think America will follow suit with how information is delivered over social media?
So, so two things. One on the if America, this kind of grooming into the basically making old media into new media. I've noticed this as well, and I do think there is a deliberate attempt, obviously from like a political standpoint, propaganda, but also from a financial standpoint, like. These people know they can cut their budgets and infiltrate this area. So they're going to do it. I suspect that there's quite a sizable portion of the people who make stuff online who are saying they're like feds, like in the United States, at least, is like kind of, I don't want to say like corny, but like everybody calls everybody a fed. But there's clearly a sizable chunk of people who are
shills. They're
shills. Yeah. 100%. And it's not everybody who necessarily like takes money or brand deals or ads or anything like that, but it is people who you can kind of tell based on they don't get banned. Like they rarely get banned or censored.
It depends who's really in charge of the sponsorship deals. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it.
Stop us now, algorithm. Okay.
Yeah.
So we did that. Wordplay. Right.
Yeah.
But
very clever wordplay.
Yeah. A big shout out Webby. I stole that from one of his songs. But it's madness because there's a level of media consumer that I call the passive media consumer. And those are the people that just look at headlines as they're scrolling. Okay. So if somebody was to say, like, China invades the moon, and they just seen it on a headline, there's a big chunk of people that would be like, oh my God, China invaded the moon. Like, they're not going to read the article. They're just going to see the headline. And there's so many people that are primed that the headlines get very creative with things. And it's not even as if they have to do it a major joke. I mean, I made the joke that earlier this year that they used to just invade a country to cover up a whole bunch of stuff, but they offered us aliens and they threatened to invade Greenland and the UFO fell. I mean, we're in Iran now. Iran. We're in Iran now. So they went back to default. They went back to the default plan.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So what do you think is the results we're going to see from any kind of arrests or convictions? Because I feel like Trump started this war in the same mannerisms as the oldest looking person at a house party who's talking to the police at the door while everyone else runs out the back door. He's giving off that kind of energy, right? Like, why is Beyonce and Jay-Z living over here now? Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think the odds, at least right now, with how clear the corruption is like, unless there's a shift in power, the odds that people get arrested for it is low. And I don't say that because I like, that is upsetting to me, but that's just the truth at this specific moment in time. However, as time goes on and the other generations kind of start to take power from the boomers, I don't think anybody, within like a 30-year age gap between Gen Z and up that saw this go down is cool with it. I think the second people gain power, they're gonna hunt those people down. And I think they know that. So they're probably escape planning.
Let me ask you this. How old are you, Joseph?
I'm 29.
When was the last time, other than if you were doing something like fucking blacksmithing or something really niche, when was the last time you were like, I need to go and find a 79-year-old to get some advice off of them?
Yeah, never. So
this is the thing.
Yeah.
So, like,
that's a good point.
What is it with like world leaders and like geriatric dudes? Is it so that we can go, when they make a terrible decision, we're already primed because it's like we're looking at our granddad and we go, well, give him a Werther's and like, just sit him down. Hopefully he'll make better decisions. Because I just see this wave of people that presidents' ages have to resit their driving test in the UK at that age, just in case they're not mad and making sure they can see, bro. And it blows my mind, the age of some of the people that are put in powers.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. And it's like far outside of at least if you're like a normal person, like not super healthy or anything, it's far outside of your like cognitive, robust years. And a lot of the younger, and when I say younger, I mean younger than 80, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, 50s, maybe 60s, 40s, like those people should probably more likely be edging into leadership roles. Being 80, especially with how fast time moves now, like with how everything is going fast, right? You're so unbelievably outdated in terms of having any of your fingers on the pulse that you can't do it. And I'm not even like trying to hate on him, but I'm just being realistic. Like, if your goal is to be a better leader of a civilization, and you're that aged out to where like TVs were barely invented, like, dude, you are not gonna do a good job.
As well. Like, and I just wanted to ask that because I don't know if it's a psychological thing. I really feel like societies are so primed to look at an elder, right? And I don't know if it's so that when, a global PDF syndicate consisting of Hollywood world leaders, Arab princes, British princes, Norwegian princesses, and all of that, so that when something like that is exposed, we look at them with such incompetence and go, well, we can't expect them to actually make arrests. It's the government. They're stupid. But when in actual fact, when you run that sentence back, these are the people that are in charge. And we've been conditioned to think they're so stupid, they're not going to do anything about it. And I wonder if it's the semi-geriatric individuals that are staring back at us that make us so complacent with not pushing things through like arrest? Like, why is Woody Allen not being questioned for a start?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, because they're so old, basically, that this somehow like omits them from responsibility
in our brains. Because otherwise, why are we not all going bananas? Why are we all so chilled out about this?
Yeah, that's okay. So on that topic, I do think that the like being chilled out about it, like there's people who like are dialed in about it, but we have been as a civilization, like specifically in the West, it's like headline after headline after headline after traumatic event to just erode that response, which otherwise, like we're in a village and something goes down and you have that response, you kill him. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not
metaphorically. We're just talking about a movie script here, algorithm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I'm talking about a movie script. I'm just saying, like, it's what you did. It's the whole pitch. Yeah, it's that whole thing. Because when somebody, goes and has a sex trafficking ring in your village is probably not going to be cool with it because that's, to the detriment of literally everybody. So, that's kind of just it's literally the natural response. But then like you were saying, where they're older, it does put this kind of like this veil of, it reminds you of an older person. And it's because older people are like children in the way that they're harmless, you know what I'm saying? And innocent. So it kind of puts another layer. So all these layers are stacking, right? Like it's the layer of, the continuous, like, I want to say mental abuse of the citizens by too much information, all these traumatic events. And then they're on top of that, they're old, and then they're trained to be, it's just the government, they're incompetent.
But done it one step cleverer, Joseph, because you don't even have to turn the news on now. Okay. So it's not even their fault because it's your feed. It's your scrolling. You can just step away.
100%.
They've mixed in little pellets, little turd pellets in with all your happy pellets. Do you see what I'm saying? And like you just can't avoid them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless you want to pay them $15 a month, and then all the turd pellets go away. Okay, and you can just have now the advertising is just disguised as propaganda videos, and they can slam more of them in your face. It's a great world. Sorry, carry on, Joseph. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt people.
No, you're totally good. And yeah, that is a good point. On the mixing of the turd pellets, essentially, because it's true. And all this together does combine, at least the way that I see it, combines in this. Basically, it makes it harder to emotionally and mentally and energetically congeal to push against said threat. Like, because at every layer, I know I'm speaking on a lot of layers right now, but all these things add up inside of a human to basically give them the energy to go do something about it. And when they interrupt each one of these processes on different levels, like these add up to essentially result in like what we're seeing, which is, nobody's doing anything. But it's because there's so many layers of this all being hit at once, and they're subtle. Like you're saying, you're mixing turd pellets. That's one layer, and then this nonstop propaganda, and then they're older, because it's like even one of those layers in the olden days, if you're going to arrest somebody and they remind you of your grandpa, that's gonna create an emotional charge. That's gonna be like maybe hold you back a little bit, but then they did this horrible thing, but our days, we have the distance and the technology and the legislation and the bureaucracy and the propaganda and it's just like, dude, so many more layers that stunts these things, I believe, or erodes them before it results in like an action. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way that I see it more and more. So I do think that might be a reason. Now, an easy way out of this is that we just need less old people in government. I'm going to be totally honest. There's just with how fast civilization's moving, it's a pretty clear answer. There's no reason. You can just retire and like hang out with your kids, like garden or something.
I'm not being funny, right? But like most of the lower end government stuff could be done via polls on Twitter, via the public just waking up every morning going, yeah, I would like more money spent on schools. I would like more money spent on this. And then all the votes, wherever the votes are, that's just what happens, right? And then all the serious stuff, we can get a bunch of like collective thought people from the town slash civil. You can tell I've really thought this out. The town or the cave from which we dwell, Joseph. Okay, we can form a round table. Okay, because it just seems like everything is so outdated, and we're so much more connected. And for some reason, they're all like, do you know what we need? A one world government and one currency. And then, nah, let's have less. Yeah. Let's divide it up more. Okay, if anything, let's break everything up into tiny little 50-foot squares, and we'll just name them all different things and leave it at that, because that to me is a better option than a united global madness.
Yeah, so actually, this is a really, on that point, I couldn't agree with you more. My lens of this is because there is this whole, like, because the end result is this, like, oh, one world government. That is, and I'm going to go a little crazy here, that is a problem from a lot of point of view structurally. So you can do spiritually, biologically, or whatever. If you have humans and you look at them and then you force them all to be the same in this one world government, this essentially erodes these safeguards put in place by national identity to prevent corruption. Because the whole thing is all these different nations and people, right? Even though we see them from our own lens of being individual people, when you look at the globe, if one nation gets powerful, they usually become kind of corrupt. Like, it just allows for more stuff. And then other nations are like, all right, let's go fuck this guy up. Like, let's take his shit, which is like, war's bad. But if you think about it from a bigger scale, that prevents this entity, which is this nation, from spreading its corruption everywhere. It rewards those who are more, who might be a bit smaller and maybe not as military powerful at the time, but it keeps them basically in check. Now, if you get a one world government, everybody's the same nation, everybody's the same way of same thinking, all that, allows for extreme levels of corruption that have never been seen before. And there's no checks. And yes, I'm sure they'll be like, oh yeah, like we'll internally govern ourselves. Dude, when is that ever worked out?
Okay, sure, yeah. Okay, sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's never how it goes. Like when the DOJ is like, oh, we investigated our own case and we found nothing. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you did. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I want to find one person who investigated their own case who then served. I just want to see that one guy who's just can't live with himself. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I ain't never seen it, but so I do think like what you're saying about everybody getting their own thing. I do think that is genuinely healthier for humanity. And yes, there might be conflict, but it's just due to not seeing why these things are playing a bigger picture. Also, if you want to take it a level up and you want to go spiritually, when you force everybody to be the same in one world government and everybody get along and everybody to be the same, you are robbing humanity of the potential of being different people groups and learning to get along. Like, only because that is a process.
Mental cases that would be in charge, Joseph. This is the thing, right? See if there wasn't any mental freaking neo-fascist lizard vampire bloodline, right? See if none of that was involved. All these ideas are brilliant. Like one world, all of that united, everyone with their different cultures, the poor parts of the world are getting supported and everything's beautiful, right? But that's not how it would play out. Okay.
Yeah.
But it sounds great. It's like one of those microchips in your head that makes me send texts and emails without moving. Sounds brilliant to me. The people, they're putting a tiny grenade in there, Joseph. Okay, and do you know what else they're putting in? They're going to make it so in 6 months, if I don't pay double, adverts are going to play. Okay, adverts are going to play. All right, the fucking turd pellet are going to start entering in through the chip. So again, it's not that they're bad ideas. It's just the evil monsters that are behind them all. Here's a solution, Joseph. Right? I think every year, the whole country votes on who the shittest member of parliament is, and then they get shipped off to Snake Island. That would motivate every single person in politics. Would be highly motivated to not get voted to Snake Island that year. I don't think anyone's touching any kids, because I can tell you this right now: the minute the frippin' that happens, straight to Snake Island.
Yeah, that's essentially like instilling consequences. Because they don't have any right now. Nope. That is the truth. There's zero. So
our king is the first king since all of kings that's went, actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to turn my back on the religion that my entire freaking place has been founded on and just like cancel it and, you know, throw a bit of this in, throw a bit of that in. We'll just not mention the culture, but it comes over on France on a little boat. And it's all gone a bit bananas over here, bro. It really has. Like the things that I'm watching happen in my country, I'm like, see if this was like 500 years ago, there would be some meetings behind some taverns with some townsfolk, right? And there would be some stuff happening. Okay.
Yeah. 100%. And this gets into like kind of a scarier question, because it's like, that's happening less, then what is this? Where does this lead? Like, you know what I'm saying? If there is no meetings behind taverns, like, because even though it's like people are like, oh, that's bad, that's violence. Like, why is this violence in place? Like, these things check each other if you zoom out and look at humans from like an up top lens. And if those checks and balances, which are naturally just, you know, incentivized, if they're gone, where does this lead? You know,
well, this is the thing, right? We can just look. Let's have a little look at history, right? I've been looking into the Crusades quite a lot, Joseph. Bit of a mad time. Bit of a mad time. I'm not going to lie. Bit of a mad time. And like, it seems like there's parts of the world, there's religions, even Christianity, Judaism. They've all had pretty spicy times, and things have been rewritten for a modern time, and all of this. And it's the same with like the Arab Emirates. They're trying to show a different side of all of this, right? That noise that made there was, I will accept that noise, because you know, they want to show a different light. The freaking Arab Emirates have banned all their students coming to the UK because we are now the #1 hotspot for recruiting and radicalizing Islamic terrorists.
Are you serious?
I'm totally serious. I'm dead serious. So no Muslim from the progressive side of the Muslim culture can get here, but thousands and thousands of extreme individuals, we'll just call them extreme individuals, are coming over on boats and doing terrible things to women and children. They are being put up in council houses. In fact, our London mayor has announced that he wants to build 40,000 new council homes next to mosques and halal butchers, so that when these people come over, they can feel more at home. Do you know what I'm saying? Or stay at home.
That's
that one.
Yeah, that's
it's wild, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, we've still got one, you know, Jimmy that fought in Afghanistan and Rajasthan and got his leg blown off protecting his country. He's living under a bridge covered in his own piss, and the government can't figure out how to help the veterans. Do you know what I'm saying? It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
It is disgusting. This problem, especially because I mean, in Europe, it's a lot worse than it is in the U.S. From what I've seen, I genuinely cannot comprehend how this is still going on, because it's so clearly, by every metric, so bad for the civilization. Like, all the girls that are getting raped, it's like, how many, like, at a certain point, even one girl getting raped is enough to just be like, all right, cut this off. Did
you see the R gang report that came out of the UK?
The rape gang card?
Yeah. So victims were 250,000 at the best. Like,
I saw that was insane.
Those people that are responsible for the Rochdale grooming gang situation, there's legislation that's being pushed through in the UK that shaves 1/3 off of their sentence and will free most of them by the end of this year.
That is madness. Like that, that is absolutely mad. Like, that's the kind of thing where it's like the governing body in charge at this moment obviously does not care about.
Well, I think they care about trying to push us. So I can't decide what they're trying to do. I can't decide if they're trying to get us to all react and go bananas, right? And just go full civil war so that they can, like, because you got to understand, the government has perfected making us ask for the things that we don't want. And it's much better for them to create a situation that puts us into a certain state that makes us demand things for our own safety. Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, well, it wouldn't have happened if we have digital ID. Okay,
I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? Because, I mean, look, I'm going to get, and again, if you heard this analogy before, I'm sorry, I'm going to use it.
Go for it.
Think of the iPhone 1, right? It sent text messages. It made calls. You weren't alive then. What am I talking about? So the iPhone 1, Joseph, if we go back many, many, many moons, okay, before when you were a tiny little baby, right? We had the iPhone 1, okay? And it would make calls. It would send texts. I think it had a torch on it, and it would have like an app store, right? 25 years later, it's got your banking information, your fingerprint, your face scan, all of your personal information, everything is now contained on here. Oh, also a tracking device, a high definition camera, and a microphone. So all of that's now there. But if that had been offered to you 25 years ago, you wouldn't have been alive. But people would have thought that was too much. You see what I'm saying? Having all of it on one device. So they've slowly got you hooked on the turd pellets, and now you're stuck on the iPhone 17 where your whole life is trapped inside. But they've made you ask for that. They've made you become dependable on things that you would have never asked for in the iPhone 1.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. This, building of basically dependence on the system. And then you have things like, oh my gosh, all these immigrants doing all these horrible things, right? But then, all right, that breaks out into, like you said, like a civil war or something like that. Now, we need the digital ID to make sure everybody's safe. Peace and safety, right? That's the whole, like end game plan. And it does seem almost like such massive levels of deliberate incompetence that it is, what is the end goal of this? Because this is super avoidable. That's the crazy thing. You could just not accept them. Like, that's in the cards.
Do you know, right? It's not, see, if it was a naval fleet, right? I can't take on a naval fleet. Do you know what I can take on with a large stick with a point on the end? An inflatable raft.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what I'm saying? You can take the kids, make it a whole day out. Do you know what I'm saying? You go out to sea, you sink some ships, you come back, you have a roast dinner. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that we have given over £3 billion to Cali to try and stop this, right? Like, what is going on? Like, what's going on? So I don't understand. So we have to assume. And here's the two things. We have to assume with the Epstein files, your government knew they're up to something, there's something going on. With my government, we have to assume that they know what's going on with this massive invasion. They're allowing it to happen. The monarchy is just like, sick. Let's just let this all happen. It's all a bit, what is going on?
It is a bit weird. If we do get like grand conspiracy, like depending on how deep you want to go in this,
let's go deep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird because if you think, even if you only think for like 5 minutes about this, they have flock cameras and microphones and chip literally everywhere. If they want to find you, they can. They can find people instantly. It's not like they don't know people going missing. Not like they don't know what you're saying. They have all your social media. They have all the platforms and the Palantirs and everything to, cross-reference all the information. They have it. And then they also have these agencies that are most powerful on earth at like being spies. So there's literally no way they don't know what's going on. It's not, I genuinely believe that's impossible. I don't think everybody in the government's a retard. I think that there's a lot of smart people in there. Maybe some are incompetent for sure, but people on the back end and the intelligence agencies are not dumb. They know what's going on. And I'm sure they have enough pattern recognition to cross-reference this information and see how bad this will end up, which then leads to what you're saying, which is like, how is this level of incompetency really going on here? Because what on the back end like is trying to get pushed through, because they have all the systems and the regulation, all that to have it in place. And if you want to get really like conspiracy about it, like you're saying, it is a way to push like legislation and things forward that we would otherwise not want, right?
Correct. You got to make a egg for it, mate.
Exactly. Because then we're consenting to our own thing that we definitely don't want.
That we didn't want for so long. Exactly, man. And that's it. Well, look, and this is the thing, right? When it comes to Epstein and all of the places that he seemed to have his fingers stuffed, okay?
Dude,
there's mentions of time travel.
Crazy.
There's mentions of sciences. There's mentions. Why are there so many royals? I mean, I can give you a clue. I honestly think, right? Because I had to ask myself, what does Epstein daydream about? Okay. It's definitely not to have an island where there's like baby jerky. That's his day job. Okay. Outside the
Yeah.
box. Okay. So
Yeah.
I think the one thing he could never be is one of the bloodlines. He'll never be, no matter how powerful, no matter how many governments he's got in his pocket, he will never be in that level of eliteness. And I think he became obsessed with it. And I think he wanted to try and make a royal baby so that he could have a royal bloodline. I think all the conspiracy about his DNA being put in stuff is part of some insane conspiracy about him and time travel, where if an entire planet gets injected with something with his DNA, and then he goes forward in time and meets the future Rothschild and is like, what are you saying about my lineage now? Whole planet's mine. I know it sounds crazy, okay? But just think about if that is out of the concept of the madness of a man like Epstein.
Yeah. So that's like, there is, after going through the files, there's a lot of stuff in that. There does seem to be an obsession with bloodlines. He did work for the Rothschilds on record. Like he very clearly was absolutely obsessed with spreading his DNA to everybody and breeding programs and all these occult rituals, collecting, the piece of the, I think it's Alaska Mosque. Pardon me if I said that wrong. Alaska. But like collecting these things for very clear occult rituals, all the occult symbolism. And that's a good point, because disgusting as it is to, people who, like us, like why would he fantasize about the baby jerky thing? That's his job. That's what he does. It's literally what he does. Like that's his gig. So it's not, you get normalized after a while to it. So it's not even that big of a deal. But whatever happens, it's the old like psychos at a certain point, once they reach a level of power, they go schizo. Like they want more. Right. They want to be part of 100%. These big lineages. And if he did bite off more than he could chew, or dig a little too deep, or get a little too, outside, he's still not a bloodline. Like you're not really welcome.
It's expendable.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So there is, with how much crazy stuff he was involved in, I do think to just openly discount stuff like that it's not authentic, because obviously he's into stuff that's like so insane.
It's so wild. And like I say, I'm not saying if you put a gun to my head, I'm going to be like, this is the only theory I have. This is the wildest, maddest theory that I can put together, right? Based off of what do you get the man who's got everything? Because at some stage of his life, his daydream was have an island, all of this stuff. And I often talk about the occult, Joseph, and about how if you are in Hollywood, or you're in, let's just say Hollywood is the music industry and the film industry, just for the argument's sake, right? And you've got that celebrity status, right? It's hard to imagine what you get that person for Christmas, because they've got money, they've got everything, right? The first little hook is the occult, Joseph, the unobtainable knowledge, unobtainable information is how you allure these individuals in. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not a Christian. In fact, years ago, I would have been burnt at a stake for being a heathen or a witch. So it's fine. But the occult has got this factor that seems to be so prevalent through most of these. I wouldn't say the super high end elites. It's very much more established, ritualistic belief systems than occult, the luring of a cult. That's like the grooming stage, if that makes sense, of into this ritualistic madness. What's your take on the SRA, on the ritual sides of things, the eyes wide shut factor, if you will?
I think the way that I look at because I'm big on this, the way that I look at these kind of things is like from a data grid, and how many times do these data points come up? I think it's so prevalent.
Yes.
Like I just, like at this point, if you're ignoring it and you're saying no, this isn't real, you are genuinely choosing to ignore a very valid data point of reality. Like you're making this choice. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's very clear. And once you kind of like eyes to see, ears to hear, like once you see it, you can't really unsee it, right? And not only is it all over the files, but if you've ever been around, I can't openly say I know this because I don't want to, break confidentiality with like a person you know personally. But like,
of course.
If you've ever been around powerful people, all these motherfuckers believe in magic and occult. All of them. Like, if it's just like, if you haven't, then you don't know, and you just assume it's like, oh, they're material and greedy. I'm not saying that's not playing a role, but I am saying like, you don't know them enough, because they do. They do. A lot of very, 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 very powerful, well-connected people do.
100%.
And they frame it in different ways, and they don't talk in words. They talk in symbols, because they're going to be able to translate meaning to other people within their groups without dumb normies noticing. And because normal people are so easily deceived, they can do it and then just be like, oh, I wasn't doing that. And they'll be like, okay. And that's it. Now you can transmit information to another person, layers above them noticing, and they won't think anything of it, and you get to continue. And if they ask you questions, you just call them schizo. It's like, it's a clear thing. And I'm not even coming from this from like grand conspiracy. I'm just like, this is easy, very clear, very basic data that you can just observe in reality.
I agree. And I've been obsessed with the universal laws of all creation. No big deal, right? And the one thing that I'm completely certain of is the universe is bound by free will. Okay, but it's a flimsy law. Okay, like they didn't think it through. There's no subcategories. It's like a sentence. So there is loopholes. Okay, and let's say, Joseph, I'm a baby jerky eating neo-fascist anarchistic lizard person who's making a music video, and our plan is, I don't know, to say 10 years from now, definitely no suspicious unaliving of Charlie Kirk. Let's just put some stuff in movies over the next 10 years, and then you willingly go and see that movie. You seeing that is now, we've shown you our plan. So you now have no free will because we've shown you it.
Yeah,
universe.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's some Fiverr.com like legislation that's been written by the universe there, bro. Okay, I've got some revisions on that. Maybe go for the second tier, not just the $5 tier on this one. Do you see what I'm saying? Because free will is such a flimsy law, but we're all completely bound to it. For example, there's this theory about children from, say, Africa in a small village who have never been, they've never seen TVs, they've never had a whole bunch of McDonald's and all these toxins put into themselves. And there's reports coming out of these black ops missions of these kids getting picked up and taken away because they feel like they're going to have a better chance at communicating with off-worlders.
Oh, how interesting! Because they're not all
bunged up with the turd pellets.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It's wild.
It is. On the top. Okay, so on the topic of, I'm not too sure on when it comes to the like off-worlders, aliens. This is like a big. I don't know if I'm still undecided on this because there's some people who are like, oh, they're demons. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So when I say off-worlders, I mean, you can call it aliens, you can call it interdimensional, you can call it demons, you can call it what you want. That was a very generalized term. I've never been to space. I'm not really sure what's going on, right? Like endless space. Endless, huh? It's endless. Just trying to, because the Grand Canyon's pretty big, and I can hardly imagine that.
Grand Canyon is huge. Yeah, yeah.
And I can hardly imagine that, okay? Endless space. Endless. Just endless. Endless anything. I can't stop saying it. My brain goes in a spiral, right? So I've never been up there to see anything, right? So I'm happy for when I talk about the off-worlders or whoever we're communicating with, you can slap in there whatever works for you, the viewer, or you yourself, Joseph, because none of us have been. Okay, if you've been, in fact, our mate John from the other night there, he's definitely been, and he's a very special man. But I've never been, so I can't quote it right. So, where do you land on it all? Like, do you feel like it's? And again, don't get me wrong, you can still 2% believe in aliens, but believe that the people that we're talking about here are the more demonic, evil end of things. Like, you're allowed to have more than one view on things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when it comes to when it comes to this specific topic, because when I was younger, I was like, oh, for sure there's aliens. The statistical chance of life outside of us is like super high. Over time, as I've seen things play out in real life, as I've noticed just like patterns and grids overlay, I do have kind of an appeal to history on this. And what I mean by that is every civilization through all time and all cultures, irregardless of connection, all believe in demons, spiritual entities, etc. Literally all of them, 100%. So for me to reject that is basically saying I am so much smarter than every civilization throughout all human history. They were just stupid and they didn't know. And I don't even know how to chisel open a house. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't make a beautiful sculpture like they could. So where's this arrogance coming from? It's coming from a school system written by Pergamon Press and McGraw-Hill, which is owned by Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, who worked with Mossad.
Who definitely died on a yacht.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. He just fell off a yacht.
He just fell off, mate. That is the most end of a Bond movie ever.
Yeah, right. Like, he's an international super spy for fucking 45 years and he falls off a yacht. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Like come on. He can't swim. Like,
imagine living in a day and age where you could get away with saying that. Mad. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. But what I mean by that is I just think the odds of if you say extraterrestrials or demons, angels, whatever you want to call them, spiritual entities, is way, way, way higher than aliens from another planet. Now, I don't know, because like I said, I've never been to space. I'm not super well versed in extraterrestrial life. And I used to think that was a higher chance, but I do think more and more over time that the odds of it are probably skewing towards spiritual, or maybe there's some hybrid of both.
Yeah, listen, it's got to be some hybrid of both, I think. I mean, I really do, just because of the vastness of space, right? But again,
of course,
this was a random side quest. We're gonna circle back, right? So
okay, yeah.
When you start delving in, and I'm going to shut up. I swear to God, I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to let you just take us on a journey, right?
Go for it. No, I like
right? So, like, so when you first seen the files drop, right? Where was your attention focused on? Like, what were the big moments for you, validation wise or new discovery wise?
I admittedly, when the files dropped, I looked into them because I already knew I was going to find evidence of like the whole sex trafficking ring sort of thing. What I was horrified was all the accounts of the satanic ritual, sexual, and like cannibal abuse. That fucked me up. I was like, dude, you know, that it so much so that I ended up like digging through as many of the files as I could, and just the more and more I found, I was like, this is genuinely unbelievable. Like, I ended up getting physically sick after reading the files because it was just so much bad, like, you know what I'm saying, like energy that you're picking up from this. So the feelings I felt weren't good, I would say, but the feelings, like, even though I was like, we had all been suspicious of Pizzagate, like stuff like that, but this was more of like, oh fuck, like these people are like evil, like, you know what I mean? Like it's a different level. It's a different level between
trust me, right? Abusing a kid is bad. Abusing a kid, kid
of course,
has to be badder. Okay, it's both bad. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes,
we're not taking away anyone's trauma. We're talking about the evil of most evil here, but like, I understand what you're saying. It's the shock and the reaction and the reality of it, bro. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. So when that happened, I had already had. I don't know how much I can say on live, but that was for me like, okay, this can't exist in this world. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, can't let this happen. This is beyond evil, because even my conception of evil had a previous limit that I didn't know could be passed until I read these files. And then I was like, okay, this level of evil is either inhuman, like, so it's literally physically not a human, and it's like part of it. I'm not super familiar with the lizard people conspiracies, but I do know about them. So it's like either it gives credence to like that group of people who believe that, or it gives credence to the demonic like people taking over your body and them eating it through that. I'm hard pressed to believe that just because you have like a mental illness, you're going to want to cannibalize and ritually sacrifice people. I feel like there's just something else going on. Because when you read these accounts, it's genuinely insane. And I know a lot of people haven't actually sat and read them, but it's just like, dude, the layers here and the amount of them is actually madness. Like it's so I was like, okay, this means change needs to happen. And I'm not on board with the whole like, oh, we'll change like in the future. No, like it needs to happen now. Like it needs to the gears need to turn. I'm like, oh, there's all these hard things. We're all poisoned. Yeah, that's true. It doesn't matter though. Like we have to do like, what are we going to do? Let more people get raped and eaten? That's not a good alternative. Like
it's not a good alternative.
I'm not down. Like I don't consent to that. So I'm thinking of stuff because this is I'm not enacting violence on record always.
No,
not
100%. I get it, right? I get your reaction, right? And I understand because if we then assume that they went through all the files and have withheld half of them, but we're like, baby jerky stuff's fine, right? That's on we're green lighting the baby. Okay, sound. So they're quite happy to expose all of that, right? But what do you think they've kept under wraps, Joseph?
So I have a formula for this in my mind, which is like everything that you have access to. It's like, you know what you know, but you don't know what you don't know. So the way that I calculate it is I extrapolate what is known outwards and then I multiply it by a variable, but I reduce the variable a lot in order to not like overshoot into some crazy conspiracy. However, what I will say is that if we take the available information and whatever they had, they won't let us see based on their parameters, right? Which is like death, violence, cannibalism, like that stuff.
Right.
That means what is in there based on their parameters and then, they extrapolate it out. It's probably not only just like killing and, obviously like rape and, cannibalism, but I would assume there's probably stuff with other animals, and I don't know if entity, but like just other beings. Like there's some bad stuff in there. Cause like if like there's no way that it's just an email chain. Like that's not what it is. It's gonna be really bad, really deep in that satanic stuff. It's gonna be very graphic, which makes sense why they can't show it, because obviously everybody would show everybody. Like it's gonna be the evidence that people have been suspicious of, and it's gonna be worse. It's gonna be so much worse than what we've seen that they wouldn't release it, right? So that means people might need to see it, like, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know if people should see it, as in like taking in that much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is gonna be bad for your psyche.
Yeah, I mean that's testament to their programming, though, right? Because like if we have been molded into a society of snowflakes that would rather turn our head away than face the horrors that the people we put in charge have dealt out over the years, then we are screwed.
Yeah. So I agree with you 100% on that point, where I think despite it shouldn't have happened. So we shouldn't see, because it shouldn't have happened, but it has. And we do have to, I think, look it in the eye, like look it in the face, whatever, and face it. So I think it should be released publicly. And because if this is what's going on, we deserve to know. You're getting all our money, all our resources, all our time, all our energy, making all our laws, saying you can let these people in, you can do this, you can't do this. Show us what you're doing. Where's all this money going?
Do you know what? Do you know what? You just reminded me of something else, right? What is with all the insider trading shenanigans?
Oh, dude.
Like
that's so crazy.
Like I figured out why this 1% have got all the power, because they're all bros. Okay, this is some like high school like football team jock bonding madness, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we're like, if all that's happening is we're all struggling and running about and trying to invest and for getting rug pulled by Logan Paul and like all this kind of, right? Like all this kind of stuff's going on. And then you've got some guy in office that goes, "Oh, Charlie, yes, Jimmy's just handed me a tip through. Yes, put $7 billion down, right?" And then
yeah. So
why is no one in jail, Joseph?
Yeah.
Why is no one in jail?
Because they control all the legal system. That's 100% why. Because it's so there's so much evidence of insider trading in those files. It's actually nuts. It's just like it's not as bad as cannibalizing and raping children.
Oh, it's so annoying. It's so annoying because I totally agree with you, right? And I'm like, focus on them, but no one's focusing on them. You know?
It's very tough because you're 100% right. And what they're doing in such a is illegal, and they openly admit it, talk about it, and brag about it. It's just like so not comparable to the heinousness of the other crimes that it pulls your attention.
But this is what is funding. It's like, you know, when they talk about
that's
like,
also true.
Oh, you see the adverts, and it's like, you know, buying illegal marijuana is funding terrorist organizations. Like, no, what's funding all this is mad bros, right, doing insider trading with billions of dollars and then blaming it on freaking NFT tokens or some crap. I don't know. I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? It's the argument of why is GTA 6 $100 where there's no disc and you just download it? Why is distribution and production being removed, but everything's doubled in price? Okay, I'll go back to the original point. Don't let me sidetrack you onto the price of GTA.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, one of us has to be focused here, Joseph.
Okay. But so actually on your point where you're saying about the financial market speculation, it's a bunch of bros. It is, and it's just unfortunate because a lot of people don't know about, and this isn't even a dog on normal people, but it's just like most of us are not taught, you know, financial speculation. So unless you come from a family that is aware of how this works and how asset trading works and all these things, I understand the mechanics of it, but if you pull out, it's essentially you have people who are at the top, like these bros, who trade and speculate and asset shift, while all the actual like value that is created, the material, etc., is created by normal people. So all the normies have to work and slave away. This turns into value, etc., which then gets funneled into these markets, which then they make predictive speculations on, like, you know, these speculations or asset trading. And then they make money off of those when they go up or down. So they're harvesting money off of that, which they don't actually do anything for except for think. So if you get this from multiple levels, the slave force is the workers. Like you, even though you're saying, "Oh, I'm free in my own," not really. Like, because your work gets turned into value, which then goes into these markets, which then they trade with not doing anything and then take money off of your money. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you're not actually seeing the biggest reward, and they're doing the least amount of work and seeing massive rewards. And then that didn't even go to insider trading, which is having legislative knowledge and like inside info on these things. Either it could be from like, you know, a financial point of view, or like, you know, maybe they're in the company, or it's legislative in our government where they know which laws are going to get passed, who's going to get approved, et cetera. And they can make these trades based on information that's not available to the public to further harvest your money or your energy. Like, if you could put it like that as well.
Of course.
So yeah, which is a massive crime. Like, it is it's just so far.
Do you know how?
Do
you know if you and a father who had abused his own 8-year-old were up in court and you were an inside trader? Do you know how much longer you're going to jail for? I guarantee you're going to jail for like 15, 20 years minimum for insider, like crazy insider trading. Guaranteed. That father will be out in like 4 or 5 years. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy, bro. And it's mind-boggling because we now know that the entire game we always knew the game was rigged, right? But the entire game is rigged. And now when you've got one company that owns 60% of all the businesses in the world, okay, and they're absorbing us. Well, because here's the thing, this is going to sound really weird. I was watching I'm going to use American words here for you as well, Joseph. I was watching a video the other day about UK potato chips, right? between the 1970s and the end of the 1980s. Okay. And there was so much stuff going on in the potato chip world. There was weird flavors. It was all British. It was incredible, right? And then everything started to get bought over by bigger companies, and most of these companies are seen as being American companies, but I mean it's not as BlackRock, right? I mean it was American, but I'm just saying. And it's incredible how much identity just the potato chip section of my culture has become, because if I go to America, it's Lay's chips over there, but it's Walker's chips over here, but it's the same product, right? And it's Doritos, same company, same product. And we're just slowly being merged into nothingness, right? And when all of that is happening, we have to think to ourselves, oh, that was some billionaire that just done a really good job of investing his money over the year. No, that was Steve down at the investment office phoning a Rothschild and going yappa yappa, and then billions are made overnight at our expenses. Because we're the ones that are losing out. Clearly.
Yeah. It's definitely working to the detriment of like the average person. And with BlackRock and everything, because there is this argument against BlackRock, like, oh, you know, people don't know how, like, they don't actually own it, but they do. Like if you own a percentage of a company, there's a board, and if you're on it and you're an investor in that company and you own a percentage, you do not piss them off, because they will drop that, or they will drop its value. They will do something to ruin it. They are extremely important, because a lot of people think the CEO, but it's not just the CEO. It's who are the investors. If BlackRock is in it, do not piss off BlackRock, because they also might have other companies that they own bigger portions of in connection to yours. Like if they own maybe 10% of yours, but they own 50% of the company that manufactures for you, and you piss them off, you're screwed, dude. Like, and it's just because a lot of people aren't aware of how these massive investment firms and asset managing companies can move. Like the amount of power they have is nuts. And you can't piss them off. If they're on your team, you can't do that. That's not in the cards.
You want to just go a bit tinfoil hat for a second? Yeah,
let's do it.
Have you heard about the black square on Saturn?
Oh yeah.
Okay, right. Yeah. So, like, there's
the hexagon, right?
Yeah. Well, it's basically a black rock. It's basically basically, for argument's sake, you could say that it kind of looks a bit like this sort of stuff. Nothing suspicious about these being in every single financial district of the entire planet. Okay.
Yeah. I do think this is super weird. I'm going to be honest. Not what you're saying is weird, but like it's just like, who thinks like, oh, this is going to be a sick monument to make? Like, you know what I'm saying? like
you know what, the Denmark one looks like, you know, when you were in like first or second grade and you were learning maths and you had all the little tiny little cubes for learning how to count with and shit, right? Yeah. That looks like 100 block cube to me. Do you know what I mean? It's like one of those weird things. But yeah, I mean, also, is that a dead homeless man lying under the Manhattan one?
That's actually crazy.
What is going on there?
That's actually crazy.
Like, that cannot be a cool place to lie. That has got to be like hot black marble ain't the one, mate.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like these structures that they build, like these giant black cubes, if you know, like, I don't know how deep I want to go into this specific topic, but if you know the religions or the spiritual practices of a lot of people within these industries, symbolism and deeper spiritual meaning of things is extremely important. Like, I cannot emphasize how important it is. So to say that they're just going to make these statues for literally no reason other than they like the shape of a black cube is dishonest. Like, you know what I'm saying? They definitely, they have deeper meaning, right? Especially when you go to Saturn material worship, you know, and you know what the cube represents. You could go even deeper, multiple layers deeper when you go like the imprison of, you know, reality. I know about these things. I don't always touch on it because I'm trying to build a database of information on these things to have more solid, because it's like, this is, unless you know, like, because normal people don't really know about this. So unless you're like tuned in and you're paying attention and then you also know the spiritual side of it, because you have to have that spiritual information as well to cross-reference it, you'll just see a black cube. But it doesn't work like that. Like, people don't spend $1 billion on a black square. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not how it goes.
Well, unless you're insider trading and made like 5 trillion in the last quarter, then everyone, and then it'll be like Oprah, be like, you get a cube, you get a cube. Do you know what I mean?
It's just like,
bro,
they're making hella money. But like, why wouldn't they make something cooler? Like, why a box? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, maybe we don't know the joke. Maybe it's like, how cringe can you spend your money? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you heard about that guy that lost a bet in Vegas and had to get breast implants for 15 years.
Are you serious?
He's done a whole documentary. I mean, we're talking about millionaires here, like millionaires. Lost a hand to his friends, got the breast implants, wrote a book about it. Sadly, this was like just before the internet would have made him twice as wealthy. Do you know what I mean? This was a period of time where like you had to write a book about it or hope somebody would get a documentary. But yeah, man, 100%. Welcome to Earth, bro. It's been look, I made an image up with the wonders of AI to show my mum the difference between a million, a billion, and a trillion. Okay, and it's a good visual that I think we all have to. Also, you ever wondered why 100 and 1,000 sound so different, but a million, a billion, and a trillion frickin' rhyme?
That's true.
Because when I say to you over and over for 10 years, government spent millions, and then I change it to billions, your brain doesn't really register that that's a lot more money. But until then, you see it on pallets.
Dude, this is ridiculous.
Okay. So the top one is £1 million in £100 notes. Then we have £1 billion in £100 notes. Then a trillion in £100 notes. Okay. So when we say we've sent £3.2 billion to France, it's triple the amount of these. You can't even see them all, bro. You can't even fit all the pallets in. Do you know what I mean? So we need to remember how much money it is we're talking about, because a million is actually a little bit disappointing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I could count that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is what? How is this the next number up? How do we go from one pallet to all of this? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I do. It goes so far outside of the human ability to like conceptualize that you don't think like what you're saying, because they sound so similar. It's like, a billion, but it's like, dude, the difference is so massive.
Yeah, right? I can give you another one. A million seconds is 11 days. Okay. A trillion seconds is 31,734 years.
That's so ridiculous.
What is going on? How do we go in two amounts of money from 11 days of time to 37,000 years of time? And they rhyme. That someone's messed up again. Somebody. This is a Fiverr job. We had a redo on this because there's too much rhyming. You know?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The closeness of the verbal terminology doesn't do justice to how different they are.
It's just more evidence of the conditioning, bro. And when we talk about, Epstein made 2.2 billion or 195 million, or he got sentenced and put in jail and then won $89 million off the Mexican lottery.
Yeah, like, dude, that was insane. I was like, okay,
89 of them. Do you see
Jeffrey Epstein wins the lottery?
Right?
like
definitely not a payoff. Definitely not asking who's been really in charge here. I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying when we think about money and the insider trading side, and your analogy of we're so focused on what we should be, right? The children, the women, the survivors. I guarantee you that was the distraction bomb that they threw out there to distract us from the insider trading side of things, because we're talking billions, if not trillions. We're talking about generational economic shifting wealth.
Yeah. That's a really good point too, because that is what we're talking about. We're talking about generational wealth, and that is a worse crime than people think it is, because we think money is money, but what that really is that's generations of your bloodline putting in their blood, sweat, and tears to materially improve your life, to make your life better, because that's what they wanted to do. Right. And they're stealing it. Like if somebody comes into your house and steals your bed and your furniture and your stuff and your stove, you're gonna be fucking pissed. You're gonna be like, dude, if you don't put that down, I'm gonna kill you. Like,
they're stealing it under the guise of fair game.
yeah. So this is the other thing. They're saying the game is fair. Then they're also cheating at the same time, and then they're rigging it against you also, like at the exact same time, and then trying to put you in prison for questioning them rigging the game.
And
so
then
it's
somewhere,
like,
someone that's invested, their sister's been abducted and turned into jerky.
yeah, exactly.
Throw that in there too. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need to know that babies taste like cream cheese, and that's what $1 trillion looks like. Epstein files in a nutshell.
Yeah, that is those two lines are pretty much like a summary of the Epstein files.
I'm gonna live without knowing any of that, but I need to know. Do you know what I'm saying? And I just want to clarify, when we were talking about this earlier, we're not talking about the media, we're talking about the information. Okay, just the information. We're not talking about release 10 terabytes of horrific recordings. We're talking about specifically the information. But I will say this, right? There's no reason why all of the horrible stuff that contains identifiable famous people shouldn't be handled like any other case of child abuse material creation. And it's currently sat in the possession of the federal government, along with all of the Diddy footage.
Yeah, so that's also another crazy thing. It's like, we know about we know we like on the surface know these people have done horrible things, but their purpose, they have it and they won't release it. And then these people just kind of continue doing as they do. And this begs the question that it's like, why are they withholding this? Like, why are they choosing to let the justice system erode to the extreme extent that it is? Because every time they do this, it makes people trust the justice system less, which basically makes people result to default, which is the, angry mob, essentially. Because that's what that is. That's a natural check on authority.
They've got to pivot the hate as well. You got to understand. They've mastered pivoting the hate so that we just argue amongst each other.
Yes.
Because if you know the government's not going to do anything about how triggered you are about their actions, don't worry. They'll create a whole group of people that live in your neighborhood that you can go and shout it at and create more crap. And maybe if you're lucky, we'll leave a pile of bricks at the end of your street.
Yeah. So this is super true. And they even talk about this in the Epstein files. They literally talk about it. They're like, don't worry. Like when these people like freak out, you just need to like either entertain them a bunch, or you got to just change the narrative enough times so they get confused and dizzy and like basically pitter themselves out. This is like on file. Like this is like them talking about it, specifically around the Prince Andrew stuff. Because when he came out and he was doing all those horrible things, they're like, well, we might have to sacrifice Prince Andrew. Like we might have to just send him out and everyone's going to hate on him. But in the meantime, you just need to keep changing the narrative, and their energy will go there, get mad at that group, and then get mad at that group. And they just keep shifting it around. And it works, by the way, because humans do like these wrongdoings, like enact a certain amount of like energy or action potential, and then it needs to be expressed. So we look for areas to express it. And if they can distract you, they have to let you be mad at them for a little bit, but before it concludes, they need to distract you with like a new carrot, basically. And then you're like, because all that energy hasn't been used yet. So then you overreact to something that otherwise could just genuinely be talked out. Yeah. So that's very real. That's like a psychological phenomenon, very well documented. So that's not even conspiracy theory. And it's in the files. It's like multiple layers of validation on this one. And they do this, which then gets to the uncomfortable question of why. Like, I mean, besides like accountability, but deeper, why would the justice system, quote unquote justice system, not hold these people accountable? Not even lawmakers, but celebrities. You know what I mean? Like, they're just famous. They're just famous people. Like, I mean, they are rich. Yeah, for sure. But like, there's a lot of people that are implied in these things. You know what I mean?
Bro, like if we just put all of the people that have said sus stuff and then put them on a pile, like Woody Allen saying he needs 2 tickets for the French PDF party. Like, surely there's some like sheriff in town that wants to just go and have a word with Woody Allen, because there's so many instances of this. And then we've got the instances of the stories of babies being taken from mothers by Ghislaine Maxwell, and the baby farm and the ranch. Yeah. And I'll tell you something, Joseph, the ranch stinks, right? The way the FBI handled the investigation, the length of time, the passing of ownership. It is it is more sus to me than the island. Okay, when you hear a ranch and island just sounds like the place where you would expect all the focus to be. But when you're dealing with a case like Epstein and the stories that we heard about Zorro Ranch, like I feel like that was the predisposed safety net for everything to filter through that had to get taken off. Because you can't understand, Joseph. Epstein's been recording people since the VHS days.
Yeah, dude, that's
right?
so
Do you
true,
know
yeah.
how much storage is involved? And then let's just assume someone transferred them from VHS to hard drive. Do you see what I mean? Over time, the logistics of all of that blackmail material, which was, let's be honest, his X-Men superpower, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, he's great at
it. That's all got to get stored places. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do think that it is stored. Like, first off, Zorro Ranch, that whole debacle, insane. I just think like they're definitely storing stuff. Like, because you say that he had, you know, stuff from before, like with VHS, like the layers of blackmail you'd have and the layers of keeping this information because it's so valuable. It's going to be kept tightly. Mm-hmm. And the odds that they find it, I'm not even convinced. So if they do find it, right? But even if they do find it, I'm not sure if they're going to disclose that they found it in all cases. Because if they do disclose that they found the information, then they have to, then they're under pressure from the public. What's in it? Because we all want to know. So it's kind of an easier sell. They're like, oh, we just didn't find anything. And then we're just like back to what you're saying all the way before at the beginning, which is, oh, they're just incompetent. Right.
Right.
Like, so you have an incompetence default argument right there, and you can get around any accountability for releasing the information that's actually in them. When I suspect they either he was so good at hiding stuff that they didn't, or he like offloaded it or got it somewhere, or they totally found it and they're just, even based on the pressure for the files, they're just really trying to keep their mouths shut.
They've got it all, man. Like whoever he was working for will have their percentage of it, but whatever was left on the island or buried wherever, metaphorically speaking, like they've definitely got it. Like, I mean, we could be seeing a good old fashioned Mexican standoff where one half of the world's got a whole bunch of black material, and it's like the Cold War of like PDF file black material, right? You know what I mean? Because that I would understand. Like I would understand if there was some weird elite Cold War going on like that, right? I wouldn't accept it, but at least I'd be like, oh, right, that's why no one was arrested, because we need to literally arrest half of the planet's and like elite workforce and all of this. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm okay with it. It would take 36 hours for the world to readapt. That's all. That's all it would take. 36 hours, man.
Yeah, I think, and I think they know that. So if there is this hypothetical like a war of the elites, which I'm actually more hopeful, it would be more scary if they were just all on the same side. Right. Then it's like we're never gonna see that unless we get some intervention from.
That's a secret one world government at that point, right? The Game of Thrones narrative plays out much better in my head, right? Let's all have factions and battle it out north of the wall. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That's at least it's level. At least it's a level playing field. But bro, this hasn't been level for centuries.
It hasn't. It has not.
Centuries.
The one thing that makes me hopeful that it's more like this Game of Thrones strategy is the kind of psychology of power seekers, especially immoral power seekers, is naturally cannibalistic. So I cannot imagine it can be sustained forever unless there is some other force or entity or something that has enough power to subjugate them into position. You know what I mean?
Your iPhone, it's there. This is the thing, right? Their control and their perfection, Joseph, of rolling stuff out over time. That's the one thing we forget about, right? Is this is all so slow that we're arguing about a problem that's a moot point because it's a bigger part of something that's rolling out 5 years from now. And this is the scary part for me, because governments are meaningless. As far as I'm concerned, it's a small group of people that small group of families, if you will, mafioso style, that are in charge of the planet and have been for centuries. Whether you want to call them humans, good investors, demonic, whatever, right? The illusion of politics, it just can't be real. It can be, right? Because if we were in charge, if we the people, because if politics was real, the minute a politician wasn't doing his job properly, we the people would push them out. It makes sense. We've been doing it for centuries. It's like how it's happened for centuries. You see what I mean? But it's done with now because the biggest commodity in the world is attention. And they have rolled out a goddamn piece of technology that we all sit and stare at. The world is becoming more and more similar, like I say, like the potato chip aisle and all of this stuff. And soon it's going to be like, well, listen, why don't we just give you everything you need within a 20-minute radius of where you live, and you just stay in your little 20-minute block because, you know, crazy people on boats might attack you, or whatever metaphor works for your government's fear-mongering. But I feel like the pawns that we see in place are the people to take the shame and the blame or the fame in the history books, because being remembered for the grand plan and the evil doing is not good for business.
Yeah, that is that is definitely true. And when we get to this kind of like one world, like kind of like these like secret elite families that are working together, trying to enact this one world plan, this makes me, it kind of goes, because it's moving so slowly. I'm trying to think, like, it's very hard to notice until everything's in place,
right?
And that, to me, because it's moving so slowly, it's so hard to fight against, because
completely,
if it's moving slowly, you almost can't. It's not that you can't fight against it, but it's like, it's tough because you have to consistently have people realize.
It's the one part of the let's do something, let's rise up, let's do it, that just catapults 90% of this into a dire situation. Okay, because if we're talking about individuals who know what we're arguing about right now because they've created it, they've already predicted the outcome from what they've created. It gets painful, Joseph, okay? And I know you've got a data-driven brain like mine, because I like to look at, even if it's humans, stripping back the humans, a connection that you can have, and you look at data on a sheet, it paints a more realistic picture when you're looking at points on paper. And this is what's keeping me awake at night, metaphorically speaking. It really is. The concept of creating situations for us to fight over, for distraction, for the rolling out of a grander plan, and by the time we see slivers of this plan, they've already created the situations we're going to argue over, the conspiracies and all of that, to create the distraction, because we've shown as humans we love that shit.
Yeah, we do. That's absolutely true. And I know exactly what you're saying, because I've tried to put myself in that position where it's like, if I had unlimited time, unlimited power, unlimited resources, it would actually be very easy to fix the world. It would be very easy if you had all those things. It wouldn't be that hard.
You had the Thanos glove for one
exactly,
thing,
right?
And you really put some effort into sorting stuff.
Yeah, they do, and I don't really understand. Like, I see what you're saying about this, like, grant, because they're trying to get like these 15-minute cities or whatever, like to have complete control. The part of me that is just confused by this is, I don't know if it's like maybe a disorder or something on their part, but what is the obsession with needing all this control, like over these people, and not allowing this expression of free will? Like, you know what I'm saying? That to me is,
they've got to make us ask for it, Joseph. They have to make us beg for it. That's where the loophole is, because even if I stand there, imagine I'm a 5-year-old, okay, and I'm going like this, I want some candy, I want some candy, I want some candy, and you're going no, and I just stand there for the next 18 months, right? Eventually, you're going to crack and give me that candy, and it's that same process with these people, and the the reason that we're going to be put in 20-minute cities is the same reason that you pay different prices for your eggs. Okay. Some of them are going to be 20-minute cities. Some of them are going to be free-range cities. Some of them are going to be organic free-range cities. And whatever you can afford, Joseph, and don't get me wrong, that's if your social media point status allows you to move in to a better neighborhood, right? But your meta glasses will decide your social rating. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's what we're heading into, bro. Like, we're heading into that, and they're going to come up with ways to make you beg for it, because you have to do it willingly. Look at how many generations of trying to impose will on civilizations, and it's blown up in people's faces. They've perfected us asking for the crap. Instead of them wanting it 5 years from now, they can wait 30 years, and then they can wait for us to beg for it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Do you think they're gonna be able to pull it off? Like, as this given stance?
Listen, I think it's going to take us unearthing dragons to fight them with, bro. Like, I mean, think about this. We would have to take out all the satellites. All the satellites would have to go. The drone armies would have to be rendered useless. We need to take them out of the game. I don't know if we just get a bunch of people with butterfly nets running around trying to catch them. I don't know how it works. Okay, but we are so past resolution. If we were to sit and try and break this down, and we were really real about it, it gets really hard, because everyone goes to, we need to overthrow the government. We've just spoken about how the government's meaningless.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean? There's so many layers to this.
If the government would be overthrown, then a shill would be slipped into place, and they would get another man in power that they're in charge of. Or if anyone has got family, like, for example, Joseph, if you've got children, you are the easiest person to buy and make do whatever I want now. I don't even have to pay you. I can just show you a picture of your kids and go, you're going to do as you're told, Joseph.
Yeah. And they'll totally do that. I mean, they're raping people. Like, they don't give a fuck.
So you have to have like a leader of men that's an orphan, that's sterile, that isn't married. That is your prime candidate for who we need in power. Just to have a chance that he's still susceptible to being bought off, but there's no other way as long as these evildoers are in power, because evil's not in nature, Joseph. Okay, good and bad is. The wolf eats the stag, good for the wolf, bad for the stag. Evil doesn't exist. Evil exists in the manifestation of the act of man. That's it.
Yeah, that is actually a very good point. That doesn't exist in nature. If you do, like, there is bad, obviously, like, you know.
Yeah, but that's the yin and the yang, bro. That's the yin and the yang. That is the waves crashing at your feet on a sunny day and a tsunami taking out a country. It's nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But the evil, like this kind of stuff we're seeing in the files, this kind of stuff
is evil.
That's evil. Yeah, that's evil, and it is. I would even go as far to say is unnatural, as in falling outside of the parameters of nature.
Correct. I would agree.
You don't have animals running, sex trafficking rings. Like,
well, look, I'm not being. Have you ever looked into how the Tasmanian devil mates? Right, it's the maddest thing you'll ever read about in your life. It will put the Tasmanian devil in a whole new light. It is horrendous, but not trafficking, not evil. It's just sadly nature, right?
Yeah.
It's so true. And the things that we're seeing are pure evil. And that's what's scary, because that's what seems to be at the top of the chain. At the food chain.
I was looking at Tasmanian devils.
Right, bro. It's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That is
like they lie in wait and make layers and that, and like just it's crazy. So that the evilness that we're seeing, right? When it's in the grassroots, in the world that you live in the world I live in, if it's Alan that works at the local corner shop and we find out he's touching kids, the mob mentality is there. It's there. And it's just not the same. Like, why are there not a whole bunch of like millionaires like storming up Beverly Hills right now to all of the addresses of the people in the files, just as upset as we are? I don't understand it all. And the end game of this, do I think they're going to get away with it? I think united, the whole world united, if we all met in a field and it was 99% versus 1%, we win every single day. We take back everything every single day. But they've created incredible division. And they've let us get to 8.5 billion of us. And if we tried to all agree on a new color for the road lines to be painted, it would never happen because we'd never agree. And that's on a color on the road. So I believe that they have created this perfect storm for their growth of evil. I really do.
Yeah, the conditions for evil to thrive, if it was a formula, are perfect in our society, especially with the extreme emphasis on material possessions. Because a lot of people don't want to lose stuff, like, the family, obviously the family, like that's the biggest one. But after that, there's a lot of people who don't want to lose their stuff. Like, if you tell them like, oh, we'll take your stuff away, they'll stop. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's enough. And especially the way that like morale works, not moral, but morale, like getting group people together to go fight. You have to convince them that they might lose their stuff or their life, like to go do this other thing. But now we have people that are so attached. So like, millionaires won't turn on billionaires because the millionaires don't want to lose their money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't want to lose their
battle
stuff.
of lawyers at that point. It's the battle of the lawyers at that point for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And I do think in this formula, there's been enough layers of creation to allow evil to thrive. My concern is what even is higher than now? You know what I mean? Like,
well, it all goes with technology trends, and how they can globally control us. That I don't know how else to put it really, because what comes next, who knows? I mean, none of us could have predicted what the iPhone 17 would have been capable of. So I don't know what ChatGPT version 2000 is going to be. I don't know what the pilotless flying drone taxis are going to be like. Do you know? But all I know is this is where we're headed, and we've seen the insider trading. We've seen how offset these networks are, how the all of the ties that go back to Epstein are making billions to shape the world. I mean, that crazy Windows knobhead has just created a meat in a laboratory, and the World Health Organization is now saying that naturally produced meat is something you want to be taking in at a minimum, and you want to be eating more grains and alternative proteins. What?
It's genuinely so insane. I actually just got a whole video series recorded on this topic specifically because it is beyond insane to me. Like, as somebody, I'm like kind of a health nut. I'm like super autistic about what I eat. I like exactly the thing. I eat a ton of meat. It's because I train like all the time, physically, MMA, lifting, everything.
We are literally the opposite of each other. This is fascinating. Carry on, because I eat a lot of crap and sit down most of the day. So this is great. Right, so carry on.
But all the fake meat to me is beyond insane. It actually made me lose a ton of respect for the FDA, because I was like, dude, there's no way. They're like, oh, it's safe. How could you know it's safe? You just made it. There's no way you can know when you build a cancer-like replication cell process and then make meat out of it. And then you're like, yeah, it's good for humans. How? And it's being made in the I state, the one in the Middle East.
Yeah.
I don't really trust them to be making any sort of meat out of any sort of animal accumulation that is a cancer-like thing and then feeding it to the Western countries. I just see that as
it's bonkers, bro.
It's problematic. There's literally no way that is going to not result in some sort of problem. Let alone, I don't think the human body's designed to consume that.
Have you seen the weird plastic growths that doctors are pulling out of people?
Dude, I have seen that, and I have been for a very long time trying to figure out what that is, because I've seen that, and it has sparked a ton of curiosity in me. I'm super into health, so I'm like,
bro, because if you're looking into that, you'll be having nightmares about that, bro. Because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Right?
Yeah.
they give them a really stupid name. Somebody in the side chat will know what I'm talking about. It's like squid somethings or some. It's some stupid name. But imagine you've like taken a Walmart plastic shopping bag and like melted it into what looks like a Prince Albert like glass droplet, right? And they're pulling them out of people.
Yeah,
and
they are.
It's really weird. And yeah, that when I seen that, I was like, do you know what? I need to know that every piece of animal I eat is come from one animal. Okay, just one animal. Let's just start there. So now I'm like, everything has to be on the bone, okay, or cut in a butcher's from a slab of meat that I can see, right?
Mhm.
Because I went vegan for I think 2.5 years, but I was a fake
nice.
vegan where I would eat.
Oh,
It was all like processed vegan food, processed fake meats, you know, corn and all of that stuff. And after 2.5 years, I'm like, what am I eating? Like, because if you go vegan and you love like couscous stuffed peppers, no, I don't love that. Okay? I'm not down with that. Next to a massive steak, yes, right. But it blows my mind that I was so duped into this healthy world of science food, right?
yeah, science food. That's how they
Now,
get
don't
you.
get me wrong. The burgers that look like burgers that have got like beetroot fat, like juice in them, so they look like blood dripping. I'm all down for vegans having that option. I'm not down for the World Health Organization turning around and saying this is a better option than a cow. All right, like I don't.
Yeah.
Do you know what people have been eating since the dawn of time? Cows. You know, we've not been eating science cows. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with you on this. And that on the topic of those like weird strand things that they're finding in people, those freak me out because that's new. Like that's a new thing. And we don't really know what it is. Like they say, they're like, oh, is this, is that? Dude, there's like things growing inside, and it's not everybody, but it's certain people's bodies.
Mm-hmm.
That is beyond concerning to me because some people say it's like a collection of plastics that have been like melted together. Some people say it's a collection of metals. I've seen like a few different things on it. This isn't I'm not super well versed. So just like everything with a grain
It
of
could
salt.
be all of those things. Why is it a person?
Yeah. Why is it in the person?
Why
It
is it
could
a
also be, it could be biological. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like in terms of like, it could be something literally growing in you. If you're eating if you're eating fake meat that's made via a cancer replication process, and then you ingest that and you do this over time, all the time, I understand, the digestive system and everything. Your digestive system has not been digesting science cows, like for, however many tens of thousands of years. So the odds that something might slip through the cracks and, continue to do what it was designed to do isn't zero. It's not a 0% chance. And I don't know, this whole
it's so relevant though, because just a reminder, the reason we're talking about this is it's Bill Gates who is behind the new science cows. Like he is spearheading the new science cows revolutions, and it's why. Like, could you imagine going into a store that sold steaks and graphics cards? Like I'd be either questioning the graphics cards or the steaks. Like there's something going on here. So I don't want Bill Gates, the man who wanted to crush up STD medicine in his wife's drink after he had shenanigans. Like I'm not. Like, how can I trust that guy if he's willing to slip that in his wife's drink? What's he willing to slip in my steak?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good narrative to go from because it's a guy, and he was getting this information from Jeffrey Epstein. Like his buddy was like, "Hey, Jeffrey, I got an STD. Going and doing all this shit on your island."
Yep.
So I was cheating on my wife with the girls on your island. I know you're like a notorious pedophile sex trafficker.
Yep.
And I need to drug my wife to like get her to not find out. This is the quality of human that is now in charge of your meat.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? If he doesn't think of his wife in that way, the odds that he thinks of you, even kind enough to give you the STD medication in the first place, is zero. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
also, I'd like to refer you to the jerky that him and all his friends would eat. Okay. Yeah. So, like, also we've been doing maths, right? I've been doing some cow maths, right? And how much cattle there are in the world, how many cattle per year McDonald's go through. And I'm now on Burger King. I need people on my Discord to continue listing massive, like, for example, there might be places in Spain that only exist in Spain that we don't know about, like El Burger, something or other, or some shiz. You know what I'm saying? That will also use. I want to see if the burger to cow ratio for every major producer of burgers balances out.
Yeah, I want that too, because I remember after reading these files, I made a video a while back. I got flamed for it. They're like, "Oh, there's enough. You just don't know how to calculate it." And I was like, "I don't buy it, dude. I don't buy it. I just want a evaluation, like you're saying. Like, let's just check. Let's just check. Let's check the meat."
Because they say the world produces like 300 million cattle a year or something like this, right? But that's not fully ready to eat cattle. Like some of them are baby cattle. So yeah, there's going to be some autistic math for me this week with my Chat GPT assistant Sharon, and we're going to break this. We're going to break it down because I want to know. But either way, right? There's something going. I went to buy a cucumber today, Joseph, right? And like a cucumber is like this length, right? It's like that length. Don't care if it's curved or whatever. This cucumber, bro, was about this length. It was like a big can of deodorant. It was like this length. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, and I'm touching it, and it was weird. It was squidgy. And I'm like, right, nah. I'm like, they've now taken over cucumbers. Like cucumbers are done now. It's done. It's done, mate. It's over. It's over. It's over. And the networks and the sciences and the niche markets of investment and banking, all of this stuff are the hidden networks of Jeffrey Epstein that we're so programmed to look over because of our outrage, rightful outrage of the crimes that were committed on those islands to children and women, and the lack of a voice to the survivors. And then when we get a survivor who gets somewhere with her case, she just unalives herself in Australia, does she? Is that what happens? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That at this point, like just the whole like this person unalive themselves narrative is kind of crazy to me, because it's like everybody at this point knows they didn't do it. Like almost everybody, like especially if you're in the space, or even if you're just in the political space, everybody knows. If you're like, because you have to go on camera now and be like, I would never kill myself. Like that's an intro on Instagram. There's millions
100%.
of videos with that, because it's so common for that to just happen that it's like at this point it's not even happening, which actually does give me a bit more hope, a little bit of hopium, which is like, people are obviously so aware that it's bled into like common speech, you know what I'm saying, to say these things because it's so prevalent, because we know that the shenanigans are getting so bad. Also on, like, this is kind of a little bit of a side point, but on that cucumber thing you were saying with like the fake kind of food, so
triggering, bro. I'm glad you're circling back to it, because that cucumber was tiny and it was squishy. So carry on.
So, one thing I've noticed, like as somebody who's like kind of crazy about my diet, if I only eat like whole foods, or I eat like pretty much just like, I don't want to say carnivore because that's not true. It's like carnivore with like vegetables or whatever. If I just eat very, very,
it's called a balanced diet, Joseph.
Yeah,
standard balanced diet, bro.
So if I eat like that, but I only have, it has to be whole foods specifically. I can taste plastic in food that I otherwise wouldn't be able to if I was eating processed food.
Whole
like
Foods
literally,
it's a brand in America, right? It's like a super, like a store, right?
Yeah, that is a brand. But when I'm saying Whole Foods, I mean like a potato, vegetable, like a food that only has one ingredient. That's what I mean.
Okay. Then you're putting all the ingredients together on a plate, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But you're self-assembling those. Like, okay, I get no Whole Foods, like, so not a bag of fries. You would chop a potato up if you were going to, right? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Like nothing where I like bust open the ingredients label and it's like 50 things. Like none of that. It's just all straight. Yeah. But if I eat like that for a certain amount of time, I can literally smell and taste plastics in foods that I would otherwise not be able to. And I've run this experiment 6 times now over 2 years to double, triple check if this was legit. It's totally legit. And it's really, really gross, because you figure out like certain chicken, certain meat, certain people, usually of lower quality, straight tastes like plastic. It's gross.
the statistics on how healthy meats are were conducted in the 70s, right? A chicken in the 70s was virtually fat-free. A chicken in 2026, when you stick it in the oven, it's like it self-based, it self-fats your roast potatoes at this point. Like it's like I shouldn't be able to take an uncooked chicken bone and crush a chicken's leg in my hand. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The you talking about the taste and the plastic, right? Like I'm a notorious smoker. Have been for years. I'm the guy that's phoning the McDonald's at 2:30 in the morning, right? Because he's eating the contents of his fridge. Okay. Like I'm that guy. I could not think of anything that I couldn't do it now. Like something has happened to all processed foods, even things like chorizo and salamis, you know, unless you're going to like a proper deli and getting bad boy stuff, right?
Yeah, of course.
But like the basic bitch stuff, it's all done, bro. It's all done. So I think I understand now. I think I'm on the same Whole Foods thing. Like if it's chicken, it better be attached to some bone. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like, you know, I'm with you. Like I'm literally, as soon as we're finishing here, it's literally a Whole Foods freaking shenanigans that I'm having this evening. So I'm on that. Nice. I'm on that same vibe because nice. I need to shave off some of the winter padding, right, from 20 winters ago. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm doing because of all this taste. There's something going on. Like there's something really going on.
Yeah, you're spot on with that. There is something going on. It's getting weird and it's getting more prevalent. Like everything, like you said, kind of at that like lower level is fried. Not literally fried, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's something in it. And I don't exactly know what, but I do know when you test it, I know there's been people that they've started to actually start testing their food. And if you look into that, online, it's kind of freaky what they're getting. Now, I haven't done it myself, so I can't vouch for it. But
see, that's interesting, right? Because there's a guy on YouTube that smokes a certain herb, and he's got a little machine that links to an app on his phone, and he can stick the herb in, and it'll analyze the herb, and it will give a breakdown of it on his phone. The minute that we've got that for our food, the industry, like we are going to be mortified, I do believe, at what we find in our foods, bro. The minute it becomes a click, like a literal unpack the product and like click and go, stick a bit of potato in, push a button, beep, and it sends back what's in it. I think we're going to be horrified, really horrified.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm like 100% on with you with that because once we know, people are going to freak out. It's just that right now we don't really have a way to know except we trust these companies' labels, and then they also label everything under other labels that make it either hard to read, nobody knows, or they say mixtures, and then they don't identify what the mixtures are, which means you can't know unless you go find it. So it's like it's very, very clever ways of just manipulating you out of knowing.
Yep, and then we can all then turn around and say, "Oh, the farmers need to stop growing all the American farmers have to buy seeds that will not germinate unless you buy a certain something like a pesticide or something." It is so scary, right? That has happened, right? Like the state of global farming is horrendous. Like our farm, like it's disgusting. Like the fact, but the fact that in America, you guys what would happen if like an actual apocalypse started? And nobody, like the only crops that are growing are these Monsanto freak show things, and nobody can get anything growing again. Like it freaks me out.
Yeah, it freaks me out too. I'm actually been kind of trying to come up with a plan specifically for this, not just for myself, but like something I can give my audience or something, because of that exactly. I am concerned just with how unstable the world is in general right now. And yes, there's like the push and the global elite and everything like that. But it's going to be very hard to pull a population into these like cities where everything's like these smart cities without a significant event or some events going on. Or there's just like, even if you don't want to be the conspiracy rabbit hole, just say just the natural state of things is currently unstable, very unstable. So what you're saying on like seeds, farming, all that, I'm teaching myself right now how to farm from scratch.
because I do think that's something you probably want to at least know.
Yep.
Super cheap, by the way.
Yep.
It's crazy cheap, and you make a ton of produce.
Right.
It's like totally organic. So
that's what you should try and give to your audience, right? Because I used to do the same thing. And for people to, first of all, in 2026, a lot of people don't have gardens, right? So it's like little things you can put on your windowsill. And there is perpetual growing salad leaf plants that you can plant that don't ever turn into like a salad like you'd buy, but they just grow leaves constantly. So you just pull them all off like this guy's done on his little plate here, and all of that will then grow back, and you can make a little window box of them that will flourish and flourish and flourish inside in a city, and have that little taste of, well, actually, I'm producing my own salad now, you know, and that might not be like a huge thing. That might not be a huge thing for you, but I got literally all of the nieces, nephews, and kids in my family sat around in the garden in the summer, and they're pulling lettuce leaves off and they're dunking them in vinegar or bloody balsamic or whatever. And the fact that they can pull them off and they're growing them, the kids loved it. And I'm not trying to push parenting here or parenting skills, but just having one simple ingredient like salad leaves that you can produce yourself is such a great booster for what we can achieve as humans now. Because trust me, the concept of planting tomato seeds is like a major event for some generations at this point. So that's a great one for people to get started with, and it gives them that attachment to their food, and it's really easy.
Yeah,
not just for kids. Buff Mac, hell yeah, fucking right. So it's a good place to start because it's rewarding fast, and
it is rewarding fast. It shows you how quickly I do believe that results should yield in life. Like if you toil the earth and you plant seeds and stuff, you are rewarded in turn within the respective time frame. And then in civilization, it should mirror that. It doesn't, because of like we said, these elites or these people that are, you know, harvesting money off these markets and everything like that, which has ruined the economy. So it's like essentially the same thing as just ripping out the roots of a plant you're planting over and over and over again. And then taking half of the harvest also at the same time, and then telling you to plant more because you're lazy. That's literally like actually what's going on.
And somebody just said you need heirloom seeds. Now I'm assuming that's a non-Monsantos weird seed that doesn't need anything to grow, right? Because all the seeds that I buy in the UK, you just plant and water and off they go. Is that what you meant, Ryan, by an heirloom seed? Because I just feel like that is a naturally obtained seed from something you're going to grow. But again, because you might be in the States, Ryan, and it might be Monsanto. Yes, mate. Okay, right. Nice one, brother. Right, nice one. Nice. IG. Shout out Ryan's mom. So, like, let's get the last of the points in on this, right? Because we've covered the far-fetched network of potential DNA and time traveling and the royals and the place that he could never be in life and his obsession with that. We've looked at the ranch, we've looked at the sciences, we've looked at the networks that involved the insider trading, and we're now looking at the fake meats and all of that. Anything that we've left off that has rustled your jimmies as far as the Epstein files and the main things?
I'd say the only thing that is particularly weird about these files is the implication clearly in a few times that there's politicians that die or have been killed, and they use body doubles and put them in masks. There's like quite a few. There's some on Joe Biden. Right? There's some on Donald Trump.
That's a really good point.
And I'm not saying that this is 100% for sure happening, but I mean, it's open knowledge that the mask tech has been like so good since like the 70s. Like it's not a new thing. I would assume that they would, you know, use some of that giant military budget to make it better. I don't think that's a crazy take. But it is kind of wild to see it mentioned a lot in these files, especially around figures in the United States like Joe Biden, where they're just like, oh yeah, he's dead. They're just using body doubles and masks, which is again crazy.
Preconditioning, and we go, of course they have. It's the government, and we move on. Mad. Have you heard any of the theories about the tiny little nanobots that some military pilots are exposing about how these little nanobots can be built into anything, like, you know, a mountain or a hill, and they're linked to your biometrics. So if you're on the list, you can put your hand through the mountain and walk through the mountain, right? Because you're on
that is crazy,
right? And these pilots in these war zones are witnessing mountains opening up, planes flying in, and things closing around it. But then when you go up to it and throw a stone against it, it'll bounce off. So they'll act like matter because they're nanobots and they're just displaying whatever they've been programmed to display. But if you're on their biometric code, you can go within those dwellings. Now, that doesn't sound like it's out of the realm of possibilities. Do you know what I'm saying? It really, really doesn't. It's terrifying. And again, when military pilots who have got more to lose reputation-wise come forward and they talk about portals or demons or whatever, I try and pay attention. You got to whittle out some of the clout chasers,
of course, yeah.
But
I mean,
that's one of the things, bro. Is technologies like that, and you have to wonder if that could be another area.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, because we already know Bill Gates is all into the nanobots because of, you know, the possible applications within your body, like of using them to, you know.
Well, trust me, Joseph, he's making nano bitches. He's making nano bitches and a whole bunch of stuff. You think Bill Gates is going home and having regular, like, adult relations? No. He's got the end game fleshlight that he's been building his whole life out of nanobots and shit. You know what I'm saying? 100% weirdo. But it's true.
He's definitely an odd guy. Like, I mean, on like every level, just very odd guy. But
think of the versatility, right? Why spend like 2-3 billion on a supercar when you can just spend like 5 billion on a block of nanobots that you can just turn into a McLaren for a weekend? It sounds so dumb to be talking about this, right? But it's so possible in the realm of possibilities. And this is, you triggered me by saying masks in the 70s. This is what caused this, right? Just so you know, Joseph, right? Because the mask technology is so ridiculously good now. It was good in the 70s. It was believable then. Mm-hmm. But when we get into the world of technology and espionage and masks and all of this stuff, the reality of what we're looking at falls away real quickly. It really does.
Yeah, it really does. And that's a really good point. Yeah, so mask tech is good. The nanobot tech is very real. That's very real on record, let alone, like, you know, whatever be classified. So it's not that crazy to think that, you know, if you're a pilot and they have the self-assembling nanobot tech, it's not that crazy to be like, hey, let's use this to hide a base.
Right.
Like, you know, I mean, if your budget's $1 trillion, why wouldn't you do that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I was the commander of a military, yeah, of course I want my base hidden by nanobots. My guys can get in, no one else can. Of course. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just to, like, ground it in reality, it's not that crazy at all.
It's completely not that crazy.
The tech exists too. It's not like the tech doesn't exist. It literally does, on file. So, like, I mean, I don't even think it's that crazy for a whistleblower to say that. It is crazy and like, oh, that's nuts, but I don't think it's that far, like you said, outside of this. Do
you remember the footage years ago? I can't remember what war it is, but it's like footage of tanks that are sat together, and it looks like a cloaked soldier runs up behind and jumps on the back.
I do remember that. I remember that video.
I think that video is the universal loophole for them telling us about these nanobots.
Oh, because they showed it. Oh, I didn't even think about it. It's so funny that you would mention that. That's such a niche specific reference. Like,
you think I leave the house? You think I've left the house since the internet came out? You fool. Okay, trust me. I like. Do you know 100% of deaths that occur outside your house occur outside your house?
yeah. I guess that's true. Yeah,
exactly. So they're not getting me, bro. I've got a crossbow in every room. There's a 150-pound draw crossbow hanging on the wall right there. I'm good to go, bro. Come at me. All right, I'm ready. Okay, yeah. I'm ready. I'm a biter. I'm gonna scratch and bite and take an ear off. Now, just somebody's just mentioned Russia. Do you remember the Russian, like the army for hire that joined the Ukraine forces and tried to march on Russia, and then the leader of it subsequently died after threatening Putin. Does anyone remember who I'm talking about?
I remember what you're talking about. Yeah.
Well, do you know the plot of Metal Gear Solid? Because his son has been spending his time in Africa, and his son's been reassembling, and his son has got an army, and they are threatening Putin again. So, and no one's going into Africa to take him out. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, no.
I'll tell you that right now. So this is the plot of Metal Gear Solid, man. This is when Solid Snake shot that Russian guy, and then his son came back in the next game, and he's like, "I'm that Russian guy's son. Deal with it, bro." It's the sun's coming, man. Like, the sun's coming. Like a bunch of you killed my Russian mercenary general dad and left me his entire army and all his money, and we buggered off to Africa, regrouped, and now we're feeling a bit fresh. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I literally have a copy of that sat on the shelf over there in the box, bro. Like Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PS1 changed my life. Again, Joseph, a PS1 is what came out before the PS5 many years ago, Joseph. Many years ago when games were two-dimensional. Okay, all right, it's a crazy time. Man. But I mean, like, I feel like we could sit here for the next 5 hours, Joseph, and you and I could be greatly entertained. And the audience, like, how many fucking things are these guys going to talk about? Like, can we stay on one topic for 8 minutes? No, we can't. I'm sorry about that. But it all links up, right? It really does all link up into this system that consists of distraction and triggering, and then us misdirecting our rage to each other to then come home and refuel on that triggering trauma to then know nothing's going to be done. And it's this vicious cycle of it all. And we can definitely break from this system, but it's beyond necessary for us all to be united. And I don't mean you and your 2 pals from down the road, right, who've been friends since uni. I mean, globally, 80% of the whole planet needs to answer a single phone call in a day and have a meeting. Like that level.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. That level of unification. Yeah. It's pretty necessary. Because the other option doesn't look great. Right. Dude.
I tell you what, you're not wrong, bro. You're really not. The other option is nuts. And I tell you what, the one loophole to the one world government thing is if the aliens land, right, and then suddenly we can leave this planet. If I can leave this planet, one world government up me, I'm out of here. I'm going to Alpha Sutreni 5 and going to go taste a whole bunch of space plants, see what they smoke like, because I'm done.
I have a question for you, actually, because on that, like, one possible answer, what is your opinion? This is like bleeding into Christian eschatology. So like it's that, and I guess Jewish as well. Okay. And it's the Abrahamic religions, which is this idea of the Antichrist. Because earlier you were talking about a figure who like doesn't have a family, and they come up and they kind of take
the Antichrist is an ideology that Christians have been fighting for years. I mentioned it in the Crusades. When you line up what various religions see as the rise of their deity, it very much lines up with the rise of the opposite of your deity. And I think a lot of people put too much suicidal empathy onto the care of others that would want to destroy you in the name of their God. And I think that the Antichrist, in the same way as the Christ God is a consciousness, I think the Antichrist God is also that. There is also the spiritual aspect, but the destruction and the rise and resurrection has to occur here. And when we're speaking about the Antichrist, it's definitely a consciousness that is spreading, because a big red dude isn't going to burst out of the ground anytime soon, because if that happened, then the white dude with the freaking, like, Jesus would be able to come back and just finger flick him back into where he goes. This is the thing, right? Okay, so it has to be the destruction of man. It has to be the insult of I died for your sins and you're now all sinning. It has to be, when we talk about the Christ mindset, it has to be that. And the Antichrist is the opposite of that, which is the Antichrist mindset. How we break this down for the actual people of the world without going into a biblical or spiritual aspect, because I'm not a Christian. You see what I'm saying? Like, but I fully believe what I just said. You know what I'm saying? Like you can tap into the Christ conscious. You can follow him as a leader. You can see him as your deity. I'm on very good terms with Jesus, right? We're very good terms. But I'm a barbarian. I'm not. I can't love you to death. Okay, I'm going to take evil and go barbarian on it. Jesus can't do that. His whole shtick goes the minute that he starts taking pitchforks to people. So the path needs to be cleared, brother. The path needs to be cleared. And that's the path I'm on.
Okay, that makes sense. Also, we need people like that so badly.
Yeah, 100%. Like again, I've got my own journey that I'm on, man. Like I say, I'm a very friendly with a lot of very prestigious people who are, you know, like Pastor Dave and other people who are very, very Christian orientated. And you know, I'm not looking to have my soul saved. I'm here to save all of the people here from as much evil as I can. Like I'd be okay if my destiny is like rugby tackling Marina Abramovich into a volcano. Like I'd be all right with that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if that's how it goes, it goes. That's the symbol on my fist is a representation of I know my fate. And if my fate outweighs the good and the bad, I'm taking her out, man, metaphorically speaking. Because that's what needs to be done.
Dude, that's awesome. Like I'm gonna tell you, that's so sick. Yeah, no, I know exactly.
And I'm sorry, Jesus cannot love evil to death. You can love bad things. You can love bad things into being good. You can tame a wolf into being your pet when you love it, but it doesn't work with evil. And that's the sad loophole that they've made against Jesus.
Yeah,
they're trying to goad him out. They're trying to goad him out, and they want Jesus to come out and shank a fool, right? But he's not going to do it. He's going to try. He's going to try and love you to death, and there's just some things you can't.
Yeah, evil is not. I don't think something that can be loved. Like it's quite literally its manifestation is the absence of it. So it does not. It is a choice. So
and let me just you just mentioned love, right? So let's say you're the most evil and I'm the most loving person in the world, and we stood in a room and said nothing and done nothing for our whole lives. Are you being the most evil and me being on the most loving would have no impact? Love itself is the manifestation of the act of man too. Because if the most evil person and the most loving person stood in a room and said and did nothing for their whole life, they would have no impact on the world. Because love and evil are both the manifestation of the acts of man. They both are completely the opposite ends of the scale of each other. And this is one of these weird laws of the universe that I'm trying to figure out. Because good and bad have to exist, have to flow, has to be there. But evil and love, that's mankind's addition to nature. And it only creates an impact when it's acted on.
That is fascinating.
Right?
I'm tracking what you're saying. I've never thought about it like that, but that is actually fascinating. Because you're right. That's where, you know, the difference between beast and man kind of comes in, you know.
Correct.
Because that evil and good, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I'm actually going to write that down because I've never thought about that before.
Well, I'll tell you what, right? I don't consider myself a wise person, right? But I've been on a weird personal spiritual journey, and these are all the things that I'm writing down as sort of the things I'm not saying I'm the first person to ever think of that, right? But I've not been taught that. This is a whole journey that I've been on because I had to ask myself, if evil exists, the opposite has to. And when we understand that evil can't be beaten by love, but is the opposite end of evil, it becomes this constant war. And then when you start dragging in the principles of specific religions and how they feel about things, it becomes even more murky. And it's just one of those things, man. And I'm deep in my journey, bro. Deep in my journey. And Kaz has just brought up the yin and the yang. Did you see what happened when they put a certain particle under this microscope and they seen what shapes a quantum particle?
I did.
It was a yin and yang, right? Now, listen, if you ever get an opportunity to go back in time, you go back to China and you meet the guy that wrote that down for the first time, and you say, where did you get that from?
Okay.
Where did you get that from? Because
go back in
I've
time.
got some questions for that Asian dude that came up with the yin yang initially, because that can't be coincident.
Yeah,
Like,
that's unbelievable. Yeah.
Like, I'm glad it wasn't like a McDonald's symbol or something really disappointing. Like a really cool symbol, like the yin yang. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's, how do you explain that? How do you explain a symbol we all recognize? It's almost like a cliche, cheesy thing. Like you wouldn't see it being used as like a fashion symbol, but in jewelry and as a motif and things, it's always been very, very prevalent. And it's a very well-known symbol, and it just so happens to be the same shape as a quantum photon or whatever the hell it's called. That's exactly it's balance. It's the universal balance of good and bad.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fascinating. It's beyond fascinating. It's inside of a quantum particle as well. Like the odds of that. This is like far outside of the realm of data. And now we're into spiritual creation, where it's like, there's the connectedness here that is impossible to ignore. Impossible to ignore. And, oh man, because I'm going to be careful because I don't want to bring up too many topics that are because we're going to quantum particles.
Oh yeah,
we can talk about.
I've already completely derailed everything. We're way back. Like we're meant to talk for an hour. We're close to like 2 hours and 10 minutes. Listen, there's nothing else. I got no plans. Okay, I'm just talking to you. It's having a good time. But we'll get you back. We now that we know the scope of each other, I think we can flesh out a show where I shut up and you come with stuff, and then I'll present a bunch of stuff, and we can kind of talk about it all because your knowledge is great. Like your knowledge is awesome, especially as well because you're a young guy, and there's a lot of stuff that we're talking about that you would have been about 15, 16, 13, 12 when I was talking about it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's wild.
You've caught up, and your knowledge is great. And I know the chat. Listen, chat. When I have a connection with a guest, I tend to get a bit yappy. ADHD people, we interrupt. When we interrupt people, it's like us wanting to be part of what you're saying, and it's us showing like that we're with you. I understand that to neurotypicals that's interrupting and is really rude, and I'm trying really hard. Okay, like I really am. But I get overly excited when people have actually got the knowledge of the things that I've been talking about for years. It's just like yes. So so next time the title will be called Ron's Going to Shop, and we're going to go. Okay.
It's okay. I understand. My family is very similar, so I'm used to like that kind of conversation. I'm not personally offended by it.
Good. I'm glad because it really upsets a lot of people in the side chat. Some people are very nice. Some people are very nice. Could you please let your guest talk? Thank you, Ron. They are very welcome here. It's the people that come in and are like, well, this guy never shut up. Well, you don't have to worry about it because you're banned now. Okay, you don't have to worry about it because you're banned. Okay. Oh no, 1.1 million subscribers. It just went down by 1 point, and we're not going to forget. And we're not going to miss you, pal. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it just be like that. So I'm always happy to take constructive criticism, and I'm always trying to improve myself. I mean, am I, or am I just saying that because it's YouTube? Who knows? I could be full of crap. Who knows? I might get off on you reacting to me interrupting the guests. Who knows? You just don't know. But it's been great having you here, Joseph. What's next for you? What have you got? What are you working on?
Yeah, it has been great. Also, thank you for having me. I appreciate everybody in the chat. And I'm definitely down to talk next time. We can hit like crazier subjects like CERN and stuff like that, and like that, because that's where I was like, I don't know if I should bring this up because this is like going to enter into a huge conversation. So
I'd like to, like, if we were to do CERN, I'd like you to bring your CERN stuff, and then I'll bring all the weird occultist, I'm a pagan chaos witch man here side of it all, and we can link it all up, because I can guarantee you've got a sniper scope for the way that you research your stuff. And bro, the world of the magic and the occult and all of that is like my wheelhouse. And
great.
The dark web and the PDF file. I know way too much about the subcategories of PDF files, bro. I just wanted to make camping videos.
There's subcategories? I didn't even know there were subcategories.
Oh man, Like, I've had conversations with parents on the dark web because you learn nothing, Joseph, from the lion in the zoo. Okay. You learn nothing from a cage predator. And when you try and learn the tactics of a PDF file from watching interviews with PDF files in jail, you are getting fed propaganda and bullshit. So I went onto the dark web and made a massive advert that says, "Hi, I'm a journalist. I would like to know what makes you freak shows tick. Come and join me on my encrypted network." And one after another, man, these PDF files are coming in. They're telling me, "Oh, this is how I would go about targeting a parent with a child, so I could become the boyfriend of the mum to then get access to her kids." And then
that's crazy.
Oh, Joseph, we're only one bullet point in, bro. You just buckle up. I spoke to mothers who are PDF files who want to meet PDF file males to make little kids with to go and share with other PDF files. I've spoken to couples that meet up once a month in motels to watch child abuse content of children being tortured, not any traditional like sex abuse, tortured. And that's how they get off. Like, you have no concept of this. The ones that we talk about are the child lover PDFs, those who believe children can consent and it's a beautiful thing. Those are one category. Then you've got the subcategory of PDF file who is just a PDF file. He is going to be an opportunistic R-worder of children. Okay. Then you've got the hurt core. Then you've got the SRA. Then you've got the generational family tradition. And it's like this interlocked little ecosystem. It's mad, right? It's mad. And the list just goes on, mate. The list just goes on and on. I've talked to all of them. I know this is why it's so easy to look where the vulnerabilities are in not just systems, but in people's conduct on the internet that makes these predators' capabilities so much easier. Like, I remember they were trying to bring out a social media network for 6-year-olds. I got wind of this and put a video out because I managed to supersede all of their security systems in about 30 minutes and had free access to 5-year-olds and 8-year-olds doing live streams on the couch. And the comment section's like, "Oh, why don't you change your little sister's nappy and show us?" And all this kind of stuff. Bro, when my video came out, they had to change their entire business model the next day, new logos, social media for over 14-year-olds, all this stuff. I called out P-Hub for their child-sized SEX dolls, and they had to remove millions of videos. I went up against Snapchat when they brought out the baby filter. They had to release a public apology because I basically made national news showing how they released a deep fake CP tool. Like, these monsters, man, you can't let them get away with it. And I have always been proud to show my face and go running into these fools. So, yeah, it'd be great to talk to you again. I don't know why I went on a rant there. But
that's good to know.
Subcategories. You asked about subcategories. You made this happen. Don't ever ask follow-up questions. They're just traumatic. So yeah, like when my YouTube channel was taken down for going after Steven Spielberg, all of this work disappeared. But if you go to projectrook.com, the link down in the description, it's all there. Okay. My first documentary, Hope Dies Here, the second rendition of that after Isaac Cappy was taken out. Isaac Cappy's Dead Man Switches there, all of the information. There's a piece of footage of a man talking to his daughter and his other daughter about their sex life because he wants to explain to his girlfriend that they enjoy it. What?
That's insane.
That's the world. Okay. When we look at the normalization of this, the normalization is trickling down.
It is. I've noticed this too. They are pushing it 100%.
Bro, if we're at a point where baby jerky is enough for us to go, well, what can we do? We're screwed. Like we're screwed. That's not me criticizing y'all. I'm the same. And like I say, anyone wants to find out about more, this is my website here, projectrook.com. You can go and check it out. This is a 20-minute video of just all of the highlights of all of the people that we've exposed. Here's my documentary right here. Here's all the footage they banned. And this is all newer stuff, you know? So it's all there. But, you know, I'm not going to be silenced. I've been down and out for years because of just life traumas. But Ron is back with a vengeance now. He's looking to, like, gorge somebody with, like, a tusk. Just, and you gotta taste the blood again. Do you know what I mean? So... Wow, that was a rant. Like you just sat there and had to endure that. Jesus Christ. That was like word bullets. So, but listen, Joseph, it's been great. It's been really great talking with you. And I'm looking forward to the next show because we can the scope of what we can plan around is really exciting. Really, really exciting.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
if you use WhatsApp, I'll get Sarah to make us a group and then we can just throw it in there.
You can definitely do that.
Yeah, 100%. Well, look, thank you so much, mate. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for giving up your time. Thank you so much for your research and your knowledge, man. It's so nice.
Glad it's helping.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I speak to a lot of people who have done surface level stuff, but this is I was talking about this stuff when people were telling us we were all crazy and news presenters are losing their job for talking about pizza conspiracies and all of this. And I'm ready to retell it all again, man. So it's here.
Good.
Here we go.
Good. Because that's kind of one of the things I do want to do is ground, like, because some people, normal people, think this stuff is crazy. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to let normal people know that they're fucking idiots for thinking it's crazy. And I'm not trying to be a dick about it, but I'm like, dude, this stuff is really going on, and I know you want to protect your ego, and I know you don't want to be hurt, and you want to think everything's sunshine and rainbows, but we got to lock in, and we got to focus on this, and then we can go back to having everything be good, but we got to lock in and do this first.
I don't care if we all go back to beating the piss out of each other, to be perfectly frank. Like, I don't really give a shit, but if we can deal with the evil, or at least get to a point where, exactly like you've said, the normalos, the people who, I'll be honest, I don't criticize you for when we start talking about the subcategories, baby jerky. It's the conversational version of putting your hand over a flame and blaming your brain for pulling your hand away before your hand melts off. It's the conversational version of that. But the problem is we're not at a point anymore where anyone can bury their head in the sand, especially when ideologies are spreading across the world that allow 9-year-olds to have husbands. We've got to understand that they've tried to normalize it through social media. We didn't buy it. So now they're going to introduce cultures that you're a fucking racist if you speak out against. Just think about it.
Yeah, they're very clearly. I've already noticed. I noticed this a while, and I try to make videos on it, and I've noticed those ones conveniently get deprioritized in the algorithm. I've seen ads. I can see what they're doing with my pattern recognition. I'm like, oh man, they're really going for it, and I do think it's going to just get more prevalent. I don't think they're going to let up.
100%. I mean, I do a daily show, and I'm already trying to get ahead of how I'm going to have to word things just to make sure that the mothership, the Sean Atwood channel, is fine. Do you know what I'm saying? And then do an after chat on Rumble where I just correct everything and give everyone the real words. YouTube has to be, when it comes to truthers, YouTube is only a marketing funnel. Okay. Any subscriber you can naturally get, you need to filter them onto Rumble, Patreon, Discord, somewhere that is your own closed ecosystem, like a website, because eventually a terms of services is going to come out and it's going to make us all obsolete because they ain't going to be showing us. And then maybe by then we're on to VR headsets are so common that the media we know as new media becomes the old media, and now we're all meeting up in some weird sensory tapped in YouTube that exists in the virtual world. I don't know, but a new system will always come because we started off with printed newspapers and now we have glasses that will give us interpretations of conversations you're having in other languages because they're so dialed in to technology. And it's only going to, things aren't going to step backwards unless we get smashed up by an asteroid. Right.
There's always that.
Yeah, but even that's not hopeful because the twats have all got bunkers, Joseph. Right.
That's true. Yeah, they're gonna be good.
It's so annoying.
Unless their security forces turn on them. That's the thing, because they're only good because they have money. But when money starts to lose its value, they need raw power, or it's not gonna work. That's the one thing. Like that whole narrative of them being in power is large at this current point in time is largely placed on the dollar and having money and influence. But if the influence networks lose their credibility and the dollar loses its value, they become like basically a full course meal for the public.
Yeah.
So I think this is also why a lot of these power games are kind of being played out right now, and they're pushing certain things kind of quickly, and distracting a lot of people with a lot of things, because the system of power is changing, and they better, for their own sake, if they're not on the right side of that, they are fucked, dude. Like, and they know that. I'm sure they know that.
There's a madness coming. Like the people are not going to sit around for this much longer.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Especially in my country, bro. At least Trump's like roll out the freaking ICE vans and are out there like rustling up illegal immigrants. However you feel about that, and I'll tell you something else, right? I know when I think about what I imagine American immigrants are, I've grown up with the movies, right? So it's like dudes from Mexico sneaking into America. But as you continue with that stereotype, they bust their ass. Like, I know that the stereotype of a Mexican dude is coming to America to bust his ass working to get some cash. Okay. And the stereotypes of a lot of the modern illegal migration that are happening is very much the I'm coming to suckle at the teat until the teat runs dry. Do you see what I'm saying?
It's definitely the current migration in the United States is way more of the teat metaphor.
100%, bro.
It's changed a lot. It's changed a lot. Because I remember,
our teat is like way more delicious than your teat. Like your social teat is like this size. Our social teat is like this. It's like, you want a house? Bosh. You need a wage? Bosh. Have a phone. Have some clothes. Mad.
Your guys is crazy.
Mad.
It's actually crazy. I've seen.
Like, I met Romanian guys, right? These 4 Romanian guys that came over here, right? Stayed here for 5 years. All of them lived in a 1-bedroom house, busted their ass, and they all managed to save up enough money to go home and buy houses.
That's insane.
Right? Like cushy little houses for their whole families back in Romania. They're like, it's great. We come here for 5 years, we go home, great. I'm like, brilliant.
I'm sure it is great, dude.
At least they're working. At least they're working. They might be illegally working, okay? But at least they're going to the shops and buying milk, and we're taxing the milk, okay? Swings and roundabouts, mate. So anyway, Joseph, before I derail, I've managed to derail the outro. Like, we've just done 16 extra minutes of talking about Pesh in the most classy way possible, Joseph. Like, we could filibust for days. We're weaponizable chatters, is what we are.
I like that. I like that. I like that term.
All right. Well, listen, Joseph, it's been a pleasure to meet you. And
it's been great.
For being here. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to Sarah. Thank you to Shane. Thank you to the Sean Atwood channel. Thank you to all of you for being here, sat at home. Otherwise, we're just 2 guys sitting talking on a Zoom call. You make all this happen. Please make sure you check out Joseph's channels on Instagram and, of course, on the YouTube. And we'll see you soon. I will see you tomorrow. I'm not back with our show tonight. I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I need to do, and I want to have an early night. And tomorrow, though, we're doing a full day of streaming. I've got my daily show, which we posted today. And as soon as the daily show is done, we're going into a big all-day mega stream. So get prepared for that. Thank you very much. Oh, also, my album Lost is out on Friday. Stay tuned for that. Thank you, Joseph, for being here.
You're welcome.
Peace.
Have a good one. Thank you, guys.